What's up, guys? Regiment in this podcast is brought to you by G Fuel, the ultimate energy drink for gamers. G Fuel uses a special blend of vitamins, antioxidants, and other natural caffeine resources to keep you from having those jitters or even that crash that you normally would have from other energy drink brands. So whether you're having a long gaming session or you're just having a long day and need a pick-me-up, G Fuel definitely has you covered. G Fuel also has a wide array of flavors to choose from. But if you don't know what flavor you want to try, they also sell variety packs on their website, and they even come with a cool shaker. So head on over to gfuel.com and use promo code REGIMENT at checkout to get up to 30% off. That is REGIMENT, promo code REGIMENT down here at checkout to get up to 30% off.
Started gagging.
I don't think I've gassed out Steph before. I've only had like the louder farts around her.
My farts are fucking atomic. When I first came home from overseas, the change in diet alone was enough to make my fucking farts. When Pokemon Go came out, I went outside and I was in shorts and stuff. We were in a park and I farted and it cleared out a whole group. And I was like, yeah, man, it's bad. It's bad. You know, that American food hits different. All that extra processed shit that you put in your body and your body's not used to it. Yep. You let out some melting pots on that one. But anyway, so we're here we go. We're started, gentlemen. Welcome back for another episode of the Smoke Pit.
When did we start? How long have we been started?
We've been let me look here. We've been back at
I feel bamboozled.
We started less than a minute ago.
Very well.
I wanted to just roll smooth into it. Tired of hey, welcome to the Smoke Pit. But yeah, so we are having a name change soon, by the way, Blake. But we are joined again with Blake, also known as Outofregs. And
hello, everyone.
If you don't know him, then you're wrong. So I got to ask you, when did you
living under a rock?
How did you start doing the horror stories of the NCO?
All right, I saw a skit. It was right when I got my account back. I was trying to figure out some stuff to do again. And I saw this one skit, and it was like this dude. It was like what was it? Oh yeah, telling a little kid tells his mom that he made breakfast, and it had like that same music in the background, like that spooky music in the background. He's like, "Hey mom, I made breakfast," and the mom's like, "Oh no, what'd you make?" He's like, "I made pancakes. It was really good. I only burned them a little bit." And it's just like it just keeps getting worse and worse as it goes on, and the kid's so proud of himself. But he's like this like horror character where he gets more serious and it's just like, yeah, and starts chilling more and more bad news to like the mom in the video. And I was like, dude, this could totally work for some military shit. And I was talking to my roommate about it, and he's like, dude, that'd be perfect for like a boot in his NCO, like stories like that. So I posted a couple, and then people just started like sending them to me. And I was like,
gonna say, did people start telling you their stories?
Dude, I have over 200. I had over 300 stories submitted at one point.
Jesus.
Like, I still have about 200 sitting.
Well, we tried having regiment stories.
Yeah, and we got fucking no submissions.
We had like a few in the beginning, but it was all from the same two people, and it was like, you can only really fucking tell so many stories, man. There's not much else to tell. And then like nobody was fucking sending them, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, nobody was sending shit in.
The horror stories. The one that fucking blew my mind, because I know for a fact it's true, were the Joes that gave themselves IVs.
That was true. That was everything in that is how it worked. I had people commenting on that one. They were like, "No, it wouldn't work like that. That's not how that would happen."
100% would work like that.
Burst the vein. And I was like, no, this is like a corpsman told me this story, and that's exactly how it went down. Like I try to stick word for word as to what the story goes. Like there are things that I add because I try to keep it, a little over a minute or whatever. But like there's little details that I'll add, but like the overall story is 100% true.
It usually is, just like how like every kind of memorandum that we get of telling you not to do something stems from someone actually doing that thing. Every single one of them. Every single time.
I got a DM not too long ago. This dude goes, "Oh, bro, I just want you to know you've made it into safety briefs now." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, my first sergeant came out and was giving us our weekend safety brief. And he was like, "You've been seeing those videos on TikTok about NCO horror stories. do not become someone's NCO horror story this weekend. Please,
I love
for the love
that.
of God.
You're moving up. Look at that. Look at you. Now you're a safety brief. You're an example of a
That's
safety
all I've
brief.
ever wanted to be.
That's fucking. And you know what? I find it funny. After you created a new TikTok gave you your old one back.
Dude, within a week.
Didn't I not say that would happen?
Yeah, you
Because
did.
I was
You
like,
called it.
because I even said, like, I've noticed that every time someone makes an alt account, TikTok gives the old one back.
I'm not even the one that noticed that I got it back. My roommate was scrolling through TikTok and he goes, dude, I think your account's back. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, I just had one of your old videos come up on my FYP. I was like, what the fuck? So I ran to my computer and tried to sign in. Sure enough, it was back. Checked my email. They were like, hey, we're really sorry for any inconvenience this may have caused. Like, you're fine. You're in good standing. And
that's honestly like, and this might be me being a fucking conspiracy theorist, but when this shit happens, I notice that it happens when an account is on the up and up, and they'll ban you for a reason that you really can't find a reason for, and then when you try to appeal it, they just kind of ghost you. And once you create an alt to get it back up, like they'll give it back to you. It's like they almost try to like stop your progression. Matt's all right. I'm sure you know Matt's all right.
oh yeah,
This shit happened to him too. It's happened to him multiple times, where he got banned from TikTok, made a new account, they give him his old one back.
I honestly, like, the ban was kind of a good thing for me in a weird way, because it kind of lit a fire under my ass to be like, okay, I need to start posting on other platforms,
Which you still don't.
I do. I post on my Instagram. So my Instagram popped up
cares about
within like a
Instagram?
month or so, popped up to like 10K, which is cool. I'm still terrible at posting to it because I'm like 30 episodes NCO horror stories behind on the Instagram. So people following there have no idea, we're at 50 or 60 now.
You need
instead
to
of
do
20.
it on YouTube, because YouTube is where you can get paid, motherfucker.
The shorts.
Well, I tried to, but YouTube only does under 60 seconds. They don't do over for shorts. So I'll probably just make like a 5-episode compilation or whatever.
I think
and do
you
like
gotta
5
have a certain
episodes
number of
and then put
followers.
another video or whatever.
The whole fucking
I'm
part
at,
1,
like,
part 2, the thing that
8,000.
Oh, well,
on
then, I'm
YouTube.
not sure. Are you doing it on your phone, or are you uploading it?
I'm doing it on my phone. So I'll have to figure out how to do that for YouTube. I'm really shit at uploading YouTube. I just uploaded my first video over there in a while, and probably a month, like
That's all.
yesterday.
You've been putting the 6 days in Fallujah ones up there.
Mm-hmm.
That game looks so wild. I can't believe I haven't played it yet. I've been sucked into other things like Diablo and now Empyrean.
That's pretty good. That's intense.
That'd be a good. That game's so.
How's Kick going for you?
Kick's going pretty good, honestly. I mean, it's a slow burn, but I got to where I'm at on Kick hell of a lot faster than I did on Twitch.
Yeah, generally. I like how you started putting your stuff at the end of all your videos. That's smart.
Yeah, I actually got a couple of my videos removed because of that for false engagement, and they were saying like you're doing things that are making people click on your video, and you're not following through on promises or something like that. And every time I've appealed it, and this was actually something I was going to say earlier about the ban and everything. I think what it is their AI is just garbage, and they're slowly fixing it over on TikTok. Because before, when a video would get taken down of mine, it would take a few hours before the appeal went through. Now it gets taken down, it takes a few seconds or a minute before they're like, hey, sorry, our bad, AI got you. That's it. So
Did you move your camera?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I moved my monitor.
Oh.
Because my monitor was low and I'm like looking down and stuff. I try to look straight ahead as I possibly can. So wait, Kick was saying that you were false engaging by putting what, your handles at the end of your videos?
TikTok
TikTok
was.
was.
TikTok.
Yeah, because at the end of all my videos now I do a little outro just to kind of be like, hey, if you wanna, if you like my shit, you can come over to these other places.
And they don't like that?
Watch more of my stuff. Well, they just don't like people going to other platforms in general. I mean, let's be honest, any platform doesn't like people leaving their platform to go to another platform.
Twitch, for example.
But they're getting better at it.
Which is actually, I saw, who is it? He does videos. Paris Heller. He did a video recently of some updates that are just a few updates that he was allowed to talk about coming from Twitch, and they're actually not bad.
You know why? Probably because everyone says fuck Twitch. I'm gonna jump ship to Kick
Yeah.
because Twitch is making shit. What was that thing that they were announcing? It was the whole branded content thing. Their new updated branded content shit, which for Regiment sucks because we have a lot of sponsors and a lot of partners, and they're limiting how much of that graphic we could put on our stream, and we have to have it approved through them. It was just like they wanted to have their hands in the pot too with it, which was stupid.
The new CEO seems like he's at least trying to do things better than the previous one anyways.
I thought it was the same guy that did that.
No. Well, it's the same guy underneath like that update, but I think that one was going through for a long time. The things that he's trying to implement are like the ones that Harris talked about.
That whole thing was the whole reason I even left Twitch. Because I was like, well, shit, you know, my stuff does really well, you know, and I need to do, you know, I get offers for branded streams and everything like that. Like, I'm not going to be denied because the place that I decide to stream is like, no, we want more money out of your pocket for this. We want some of that deal.
They are so
shitty
for that.
What should have been is the 50-50 split, regardless.
That
this still blows my mind.
Kick that's great is it's not a 50-50 split. Like
yeah,
for me, I get 100% of my subs.
Basically.
Right now. So
it's
I
crazy
think the way
to
they do
me.
is it depends on how big you are before they start taking a percentage.
It's crazy that people still go for partner on Twitch when it's still 50-50.
That is even crazier because they lowered it, didn't they?
It was like 70-30 if you made partner.
Yeah, and then they lowered it to 50-50 where
everyone so
gets
no
50/50.
Matter what, it's 50-50. So the check mark is fucking pointless.
I stopped partner grind like a year and a half ago. Mostly because everyone's like, why aren't you streaming anymore? I'm like, honestly, I don't want to. I really just haven't wanted to. I might do Kick. I tried Kick once, but the quality was shit because it happened, you know, like how Kick doesn't have like their own individual servers for regions like Twitch does. So it's pretty much if it's a high traffic day for people that timeline, that little block of time where everybody's streaming, your streams are going to look like shit because everybody's using up the bandwidth.
I haven't had that problem.
I had that problem.
Because you stream at night.
Oh, true.
Yeah, you stream like in a weird hour. If I were to stream like on a Friday evening at like, I don't know, 8, 9 o'clock Central Time, it would be shit. I tried the Kick stream once and I never went back. I should go back. I really should stream again. There's a lot of things I should be doing again, but school has been destroying my fucking life. You know,
don't you only have like another semester?
Oh, I totally forgot. Damn it.
I have 2 projects, some homework, and guess what? There's only 2.5 weeks of the semester left.
Don't you only have one more semester?
2. I have 2 semesters left.
Oh, well, damn. So basically a year. You have another year left.
Until the end of spring. Yep.
Dude, I'm about the same. I might take this semester off though to kind of focus on my shit.
Don't do it.
I'm not doing it because I can't afford to do it.
Just finish it.
Just do it, man. Just power through.
Yeah.
The more you put it off, the more you're gonna wish that you just done it.
Once you put it off, you're gonna be like, oh, I don't want to go back to it now. I had this nice time off.
I'm so close to finishing my degree too. That'd be really shitty if I just didn't finish my degree.
You mean like?
You could be like our
no, that wasn't
previous guest that we haven't had released yet, but Nico. Or no, it wasn't Nico.
Your narrator was the one. He went to film school, and then he ended up not finishing his degree for film school, and that was because of COVID. That wasn't his fault.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still utilizing everything that he learned for his degree, so like it's basically redundant.
Yeah,
because he's making a lot of money off of YouTube because he gets like millions of views on his shit.
I'm sorry. This is very random. I'm jealous of y'all's backgrounds.
Why?
It just looks cleaner.
Do you know how? Listen, this is an illusion. This is an illusion right here, okay?
I know. I wish I could create that illusion.
If you could see everything in this fucking room, I tried making this room look like a studio as much as I could, and it just looks like a fucking mess right now. Like there's a chair that my wife brought over that just sits there in the corner, and there's a cutout of Tim from fucking Grunt Style that I took on an IW hike. There's a mini fridge right here that I don't even use anymore because I don't drink anymore. And there's a fucking shelving unit with a bunch of shit on it that I I tried making it look nice, but this, you can only really see this section of it when I do the podcast and stuff. But it's just, I want a new fucking house. I need a new house because I need a house
Need a
that's
new house
larger.
for setup.
Like that's realistically because this room that I have all this shit in is so small that I am limited to what I can do and where I can have things set up. And I want a different desk. This desk it was good to start with. It's one of those L-shaped corner desks you get off Amazon. But I have two of them. One for my wife, one for me. Well, the other desk that, my wife uses, I also use it for guests when they're in person. But aside from that, that's the setup I have is all I can do. And I want a bigger room so that I can have a bigger setup, I don't want to have like my air vent right over the fucking guest where like every time they talk you can hear the fucking air conditioning blasting or the heat blasting. And I mean the only cool thing about this is that the bathroom's right there, so I can just get up and go take a piss, kind of like how your setup is, like your bathroom's behind you. Mine's right there too. I mean I got my fridge and stuff here, but for the most part it's such a tiny room. I want a bigger house so I can have more space,
This is just my office.
I want more monitors.
Nice
I want a more
office.
like consistent desk. I want a bigger desk. I want two big desks. I want, I want a better podcast setup.
I'm still playing on my Pong table.
Oh, and you're on a Pong table?
I'm on a Pong table. Like it literally like I had a
Is it a
buddy of
plastic
mine's-
desk?
Yeah, it's the plastic like outdoor one. And I had my buddy's wife when I was still in. She was like real artsy and stuff, and she was like, "Hey, I'll like draw a bunch of stuff on it for you, if you pay me." I was like, "Hell yeah, that sounds awesome." So I've got like on each end, I've got little circles where the cups go, and I've got like American Dad, Family Guy, Cat and Dog, Dexter's Laboratory, like all these old cartoons and like newer cartoons and stuff just drawn all around the like border of the desk, and then everyone that's ever played on it has their signature on it.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I just
But
need more
stream
space, man.
can't see it.
Stream can't see it.
Well, I'm glad the stream can't see mine. My desk is a fucking menagerie. It's like a reflection
That's
of
a
my
big
mind.
word for you.
Menagerie? Listen, just because I can't read things very well doesn't mean I'm not articulate. There's another big word for you, you fucking idiot.
That's not. No,
You
that's not too bad.
bitch. You stupid little shithead. Fuck you.
Blake, did you see that clip I posted on Twitter?
No,
Probably not.
I don't look at Twitter.
No.
Fucking
It's
twatter.
one of him and me and his wife making fun of him for not being able to read. It's pretty glorious.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I know. I love it. It's fucking great. Everyone, they make fun of me and they love doing it.
It's like one of the best clips. And then there's another one where there was like a fat version of him in one of our articles.
It wasn't me.
Mhm.
It wasn't.
It wasn't him.
It
But it was
wasn't
like his
me.
fat doppelganger. And our other host, he was one of my junior corpsmen. He was like, I wonder if he can read better than you.
Yeah, my dyslexia is their entertainment. It's the best. I absolutely fucking love it. Thank you. So the horror stories in the NCO, there was a couple that I want to give you too. I'm trying to remember if I've told you any of them before. Did I tell you about the one guy
Doubtful.
that fucking tried to beat a hooker to death?
Maybe no, I don't think so.
So there was a guy, and he was pretty fresh to the unit.
Okay.
He goes to the brothel, and in Italy, it is against the law to not pay the prostitute. You can buy one, but you can't if you don't pay for it. It's theft. You go to jail. He didn't want to pay her, and he picked her up. They went off. They did their thing. He didn't want to pay her, so he tried to beat her to death, and left her in a field for dead. And she was pregnant and lost the kid. So now in Italy, that's considered murder.
Does she know who the baby's daddy is? That's my question.
Who gives a fuck? He still tried to beat her to death.
I'm just curious.
But anyway, so she loses the baby, and she was left for dead. They found her in a field, and she knew who it was. She was able to identify the guy, knew what battalion he was and stuff, because the people in Italy, they are very familiar with us. So she accuses him. He said it wasn't her. The Carbonari investigate. They check his car. Her purse and underwear were still in his car. So he gets locked down to base, right? And I was on brigade staff duty during when this guy was on lockdown. Had to go with a carbon area to go check on him to make sure that he was still there, that he didn't escape. Well, one day he did escape. He tied his sheets together and made a little rope to slide out of the window with. And he went back to the fucking brothel to finish the job like an idiot. And if you don't know, these brothels are run by the Russian mob.
Yeah.
Either the Russian mob or the Italian mob. Typically, it's the Russian mob. He goes in there to finish the job, and all the girls and the guys there that work there beat the fucking brakes off this dude. And he gets arrested and sent back to he gets sent to jail. Like there's a jail next to our base. So they're like, you're not going back to the barracks, you're going straight to fucking jail. And waiting his trial, like they were like throwing jizz in his food, throwing shit in him and stuff. Like I felt so bad for his NCO because can you imagine being told, hey, Private Schmuckateli is being detained for attempted murder and murder of a fetus.
Ugh.
And it's like, what the fuck? This dude's been here for 2 months.
Did you? I did one. It was one of the early ones. And this dude submitted that he had a new guy that was very new to the unit. went out on, it was like a 96 or something like that. And got a hotel, got a prostitute. And the prostitute was apparently like playing with his ass, and he really didn't like it and told her to stop, and she wouldn't stop. So he choked her out, killed her, left her body in the hotel room, went back to base, and went up to his NCO and was like, hey, so this is what happened. What should I do?
Oh my
and the NCO
God.
was like, did you call him? Because he also didn't know if he killed her, because he like left her soon after choking her out, thinking she'll probably wake up. And I guess while he was getting his shit and she didn't wake up, he was probably like, I was driving back, got a little nervous, told the NCO. The NCO was like, all right, let's call the hotel. Called the hotel, told him what room she was in. It's like, can you go check? They went in, and they're like, yeah, no, she's dead. So he took him to PMO, and cops got called, obviously, and he got arrested.
That just reminds me of when Brock got violently railed by his, at the time, girlfriend. And then he drop kicks her.
I Spartan kicked her into a fucking wardrobe. She put her finger in my butt, and I wasn't having it. I didn't really enjoy it. I was letting it happen, but then she put another finger in my butt, and I was like, nope, don't like that one. And I kept telling her to stop, and she wouldn't. And I like fucking just out of reaction, just foot to chest, yeet. It was a reaction, I guess. But
these are the type of stories you can hear on his podcast.
So there was another guy in our unit. He had been there for a few weeks, and his roommate goes up to his squad leader and was like, we need a medic now. And he's like, for what? The dude had tried slitting his own throat in his barracks room, and he found him in the barracks room laying on his bed with a washcloth over it saying, help. And apparently the guy's girlfriend broke up with him when he got sent to Italy. He tried to kill himself by slitting his own throat with his shaving razor. He took a razor out of the shaving razor and tried doing it with that. Obviously not very good, because he didn't go deep enough to really do anything, but he ended up fucking slitting his own throat. And yeah, that was a fucking interesting time.
It's literally a Vet TV skit, except he was trying to get out of deployment.
You want to hear a crazier one?
Yeah.
There's another one I actually uploaded. Homeboy got broke up with his girlfriend. And the stipulation for him, like the girl breaking up with him, was like, hey, I don't want kids. Like,
yeah, stand your ground.
You need to like not be fertile. So the kid tried to castrate himself.
Oh my God.
His barracks room.
Oh, she said that to him.
Stay with her. Yeah, to stay with her. And she ended up breaking up with him.
He tried to fucking give himself.
He tried to castrate himself.
Oh my God. This reminds me of the BME Pain Olympics, man. Like, how do you fucking... How is that in your wheelhouse of things to do? So, you know...
It must have been some good pussy.
Probably not. I think it was like, I think the story of the guy said it was like his first girlfriend. Like high
So
school
to
girlfriend.
him, yes.
To him it was.
Yeah,
But
to him, it was
honestly,
all he knew.
This sounds like the guy shouldn't have been in the fucking army. If his brain goes to, I'm going to cut my shit off to not get her pregnant. Like...
Are we surprised that this anybody in the
was this
service?
Marine Corps? Was this Marine Corps?
I can't remember.
Let's not act like the army doesn't do stupid shit, okay?
Oh, they
we talked
definitely-
about this
they-
before.
they
Y'all,
definitely
y'all
do
just
stupid
do
shit.
stupid shit, but the Marines do stupider shit, and they're much louder about it. So you guys kind of go under the radar with your stupid shit.
This is true. I mean, this one wasn't really under the radar, but the heroin thing, when we got back from Ukraine, fucking 2 dudes went to their room and shot up heroin. One OD'd, come knocking on a squad leader's door, said, "Sergeant, we're ODing." And he's like, "On what?" He's like, "Heroin." And we had to get
Did you hear? Continue.
and we had to have all of our barracks inspected by the carbon area with the police dogs and shit. Did we hear what now?
Did you hear about the Marine that had like an underage girl in his closet recently?
Yeah, and it was actually
Yeah.
because he was like, it was a sex trafficking ring
Mhm.
that he was involved in, like a human
Yeah.
trafficking ring.
I think the story had went like it had like went to like court martial, and the evidence had shown that he thought that she was overage and that the girl had lied about it. Like I think he actually got off due to evidence because it was like on a dating app or whatever. And
Oh, and he
when
thought
you have to be 18, you have to like say that you're 18 to be able to sign up for those. And like she had said that she was of age and everything. So I think he got off on it is what I remember hearing from the story.
So he didn't know, essentially.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the gist that I had gotten.
Man, just can you imagine not knowing?
But like putting her in your closet, my guy.
That's not uncommon. You know how many times
I know
like,
it's not.
dudes,
That's the
dudes
problem.
bring somebody back to the barracks and they throw them in the closet because like the fucking barracks NCO shows up to do an inspection to make sure you're not doing anything stupid. So like,
Didn't you do a
fucking-
skit about this too?
Yeah, I actually had a few submissions. One of them was a little person. She was a prostitute.
Oh, I
Uh,
love
Just
she
say
that.
was in
midget.
this
Just say
dude's-
midget.
She was in this dude's what is it? The bed, in the locker of the bed
Oh, the ones that fold
during
up.
field day during field day inspection.
That's fine.
And the CO was in the room doing inspections and got caught with her. Pulled it up. She pops out, and he also had like 16
It's
pocket
like a
pussies,
birthday cake.
all used and unwashed
Ugh.
inside of the rack. And the CO was like, didn't ask anything. The first question of his mouth was, "Why aren't these clean?"
What was it again?
Pocket pussies.
It was pocket
wow.
pussies, and he told him, well, she's actually been buying these for me and uses them on me, and I like to keep them dirty for the memories.
Oh
Wow.
God, dude.
And then
Oh.
another one, like just before that one got submitted, it was a fat chick was in the dude's same thing in the rack, got caught in there. She was making a little bit of noise. They popped it up, and it was
How
naked
did she
fat chick.
fit?
I guess not that big. I mean, those things can fit some people.
Bold of
You know?
that dude to fucking think
Some of
that
them
he
can,
could.
yeah.
Why didn't he wait till after the field day inspection? Why did he just say, you know what?
I guess he had her in there the night before and probably passed out and was like, "You need to go somewhere. Holy shit, they're about to come through." And I was like, "Get in my rack."
Dude, my anxiety wouldn't let me do anything before an inspection. Like I was just
Yeah,
like,
no, I couldn't.
I
There's
couldn't
no
do
fucking
it.
way. I didn't even I hated bringing girls into the barracks because I was like, they're gonna fucking find me out. I'm gonna get in trouble. I did it, but like even my anxiety, I was like, they're gonna know. So duty's gonna come up and be like, well, you didn't fucking sign her in.
I never brought a girl into the barracks. My best
Well,
friend
many-
lived off
many a time.
post, so anything I did was not in the barracks.
Greenside, I did a lot because you have to be married or an E6 to live out in town.
See, in Italy, it's not like that. You had to be. He was married and he got divorced, but they let him keep the house because he had his kid still. So, I mean, his kid wasn't
Yeah.
there for a little while. His kid was back in the States with his dad. And shit.
But speaking of Russians and stupid shit, as a hashtag
When was
segue,
Russians brought up? What a weird segue. When did we say anything about a
had
Russian in this
Russians
last 5 minutes?
in one of the stories.
Yeah, that was like 10, 15 minutes ago.
I know, but we kept going. And
speaking of
we're still
Russians.
segueing. We're segueing it, and I'm sticking with it.
Whatever. The worst segue ever.
No regrets.
So, for you guys, we don't obviously didn't hear us talk about our topics. So our first topics we're going to talk about was so there's a guy who runs a web domain for the Russian allied country, and he got accidentally sent millions of U.S. military emails for 10 years. I didn't know that. I thought it was just like one mass email thing, including sensitive information like general's travel itinerary over a typo. That's how this happened.
You know what's fucked up? He knew he was getting these emails, and he just like, I'm just gonna collect all this information. I'm not gonna tell them. I'm not gonna email them a reply.
If you're the enemy, are you gonna tell anybody? No. Kind of like the whole when the fucking everyone's personal information got leaked, and they're saying from what we can tell, nobody got it. And it's like, yeah, do you think the people that were actually going to nefariously use that shit were going to come forward with it? No.
Exactly.
Absolutely not. Next topic after that is an Army reservist accused of defrauding Gold Star families out of millions of dollars, which that is fucking horrible.
For those that don't know, the Gold Star means that they had someone die overseas. Yeah. So this is the military's way of saying, we're sorry, have some money.
This is the Gold Star family members are some of our most important family members when it comes to the military because Gold Star family members are family members of individuals who are KIA. So that makes this extra shitty. In the gaming news, Call of Duty renames a controversial Modern Warfare 2 operator, which is it took me a second to realize why. We'll go into that. And it's very strange. Like, who the fuck reads shit backwards?
Apparently not them.
Apparently not them. But like the people that caught it were reading the name backwards, and that's how they caught this.
It's in my opinion, it's a reach.
Yeah, I think it is.
No, it literally spells it out.
It really.
No, I see it. I'm looking at it, but like, come on now, like.
So Activision Microsoft deal looks like it's going forward. And with that, Xbox has signed a binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation after the acquisition is done.
For at least 10 years.
For at least 10 years. Which they even said they were going to do that to begin with. And Sony was just like, no.
Yeah, Sony's like, we want it on paper.
Another interesting recent story that happened was a U.S. soldier facing misconduct charges. I think they were like assault. And he defected to North Korea while stationed in South Korea, and he was shouting, ha, 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 the whole way. And, of course, the North Koreans detained his ass. I don't know what he thought he was going to fucking get into.
Like, I'm free, bitches!
I tell you, man, Joe will find a way to blow your mind all the time. The fucking private schmuckateli will always fucking surprise you. If once you think that they can't surprise you any more than they already have, they do. Never fails. It never fails.
So true.
And then the last thing that we're going to get into is we're going to dive into about 20 or so of the 150 reasons why I'm not re-enlisting, which even though this is from an Army perspective, everybody can relate to this shit.
That's all the same shit.
And I'm sure you can, Blake, being from the Marine Corps. I'm sure a lot of this shit reigns true and then some. You know, kind of like being a Marine is enough of a bonus because enlistment bonuses were like, when people asked about enlistment bonus, the last commandant was talking about how, was it the commandant or the general, said that being a Marine should be enough of a bonus.
I remember.
That's a long time ago.
Fine, we're not re-enlisting.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, being a Marine doesn't like necessarily completely pay my bills. The title doesn't help me pay my bills, but
it barely does.
Yeah, it barely does.
A lot of my buddies were like, when we heard that, we were like, oh, that's the bonus? Cool, I'm just going to get the fuck out then because I've already claimed that bonus.
Yeah, it's like, once a Marine, always a Marine. I've already got that bonus. I'm fucking out ski. This was more for the new recruits than anything. The poolies, as you call them.
No, the poolies are pre-boot camp.
That's
like people asking for bonuses to get in.
Yeah, those are the ones I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
That was what that whole comment was actually directed to. When people were asking about sign-on bonuses.
This past weekend, actually. or this past week.
You were
for
where?
my TAD. I was at the Paris Island. That's where my course was for my advancement study course to like maybe you'll get a higher test score and possibly advance. Probably not, but it was out in Paris Island and there was a bunch of boots because I had to fight through traffic to get to my class.
Going
during
back to
graduation.
bases and seeing boots is like a very odd thing, but a very satisfying thing because you know it's not you anymore.
It's more annoying than anything.
It's seen, and then it blows your mind because you see some of these people and you're like, is this what we've become? Is this what the military has become? Is this who we are? Like the Navy base, watching people walk around in fucking tennis shoes and shit. And just like everybody looks like.
That's usually a medical thing, though.
I mean, seeing them walk around like that, and like it's 90% of the people that I see on base doing it. And
actually, if it's the boot camp side, they did have a thing where they changed it. I remember I asked one of the RDCs about it because I was like, why are there so many fucking people in their tennis shoes? And it's because they were having so many feet issues from the boots because the Navy boots are fucking trash.
They're stiff.
They're
so stiff.
Stiff fucking leather. And in boot camp, especially for females, they rarely fit right. And they're steel toe. They're just ass. So many people get fucking foot problems. So they started doing it to where they'll alternate weeks for the first half of boot camp. Or like, I don't know if it's weeks, but they'll like alternate days, I think, to where there'll be a tennis shoe day and then a boot day to get their feet accustomed.
Those tan boots were probably the best boots I've ever had to break in, honestly. They break in so nice.
I wear the tans. I only wear black ones when I have to go on chip, and oh, they're so terrible.
All right, so let's talk about this whole fucking Russian leak thing because you know things are getting leaked to Russia like regularly.
Who doesn't check their email either?
I don't know.
What do you want, Blake?
I'm really sorry to do this. Baby bladder has hit me.
You got shit?
I don't know. I gotta pee.
Oh, go piss. Go pee.
You make me.
I'm so
bladder.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Regiment in this podcast is also proudly partnered with Stack Up. Stack Up is another military gaming organization. The one thing different, though, is that they focus mostly on the mental health of veterans as well as the betterment of veterans alike. One of the programs that Stack Up has is their STOP, or Overwatch program, which is a 24/7 crisis support line for veterans. The thing that sets Stack Up's Overwatch program above all other crisis support lines, including the VAs, is the fact that this 24/7 crisis line is operated by trained veterans. So when a veteran calls in crisis, they're not just talking to a random person. They themselves are talking to a vet that has also gone through something similar and can relate to the situation. Their trained staff in this Overwatch program will help a veteran find the resources that they need to find help. And if the person just wants somebody to talk to, the Overwatch program is great for that too. Another cool thing that the Overwatch program does is that you don't have to sit there and talk on the phone with somebody. If you feel comfortable just doing DMs, they can definitely do that too. Another really cool thing that Stack Up has is their air assaults. Air assaults are where they'll take a veteran and fly them to conventions all over the country. This includes TwitchCon, Comic-Con, anywhere in the US, all expenses paid. And if a convention happens to be somewhere out west in California, Stack Up has what's called a Phalanx House, which is essentially a gaming lounge for all veterans to just go to. Stack Up will definitely hook you up with that. They have pool tables, hot tubs, and just a place to stay if you're out west. It's pretty cool. Another thing that Stack Up has is their supply crates. Now, what they'll do is they'll take gaming equipment, gaming consoles, and other cool swag and send it to either a veteran in need or a unit somewhere deployed or a unit that needs it. This is a great way to keep veterans connected and boost the morale of the veterans that need it. Every year, Stack Up has a charity called the Call to Arms. The Call to Arms charity is to help Stack Up raise the funds that they need for all the awesome programs that they have. Last year alone, they raised $625,000, and all of that money goes to keeping these programs going to help other veterans that need it. If you're looking to donate, we have the donation link down in the bio. But if not, go ahead and spread the word of this awesome charity and head on over to stackup.org and check them all out. That's stackup.org and tell them Regiment sent you. Anyway, we're back from your baby bladders incident.
That happens.
You should just really invest in wearing Depends.
Yep.
And then
I thought about getting a catheter and just kind of
you want to do it?
Having that.
Who was it that told me? There was Oakley Dude, fucking Oakley told me that he was in the bathroom at an airport and he found a whole ass catheter in the bathroom. Someone had pulled their catheter out in the fucking public bathroom.
That's gross. Reminds me of Dumb and Dumber when he's like, "We should probably."
Oh God, yeah. When he pulls him and he's
So
like lifting him out of the wheelchair.
He's like, "No, I can do it."
There's different types of catheters. So a catheter doesn't always go like into you. Sometimes it's just attached. It's like a suction cup. A Foley catheter is inside of you.
I think it was one of those.
That's the little tidbit of knowledge.
And he found it in the bathroom. Like, can you imagine sitting in the bathroom and be like, I got to pull this out of me? And you're just in the bathroom, in a public bathroom, just pulling a catheter out of you?
Well, you can't, you don't pull it out. So what it does is there's a little air bubble that keeps it in. So you put the needle in and you push the air in and it blows up the little bubble. It's inside of your bladder. So that way when you pull on it, it catches that bubble so it doesn't come out. Now, there are like psych patients and everything that have been known to like try to yank that shit out and does so much damage. But all you do to get it out is you just deflate that bubble and then slide right out.
All of it sounds it all sounds fucking horrible though. Anyway, so man,
it's like a massive bore punch.
So about this Russian ally getting sensitive information. Let's see. So a Dutch entrepreneur says the Russian allied nation of Mali has for years been receiving millions of U.S. military emails with sensitive information, all because of a typo.
Millions.
Over the course of a decade, too. Johannes Zerbier, who was contracted to manage Mali's country email domain, said he'd been trying to alert the Pentagon to the security issue for the past. He tried telling them. So he wasn't holding it and then telling him now. He'd been trying, and the Pentagon just couldn't fucking be bothered.
Why? They're like, no, we don't want anything to do with your shit.
The mix-up stems from the U.S. military personnel, as well as people attempting to contact the military, sending their emails .ml accounts, the domain owned by Mali's government, instead of .mil accounts. That was the typo. Someone forgot an I.
How does nobody see that?
I don't know, but here's the other thing, right? So Mali owns the .ml. However, do they have people with those names .ml too instead of .mil? Like Jackson B. Harvey at mail.mil or whatever the fuck? That's the thing. It's like there's a whole other fucking handle to that they possibly couldn't have been.
Well, no, I think this was just for this specific one. He would get, so like if it wasn't an actual email, Microsoft or like Outlook sends you like mail can't be delivered, recipient doesn't exist, something like that. Or the address doesn't work. So I've had things like that where the email isn't real. It just doesn't go to anybody. So him particularly, when it was for him or whatever domain it was, name or something, if it's just a generic .ml, then he was getting all those. It's more than likely a generic one.
Can you imagine?
It likely isn't a name one because a name is very specific. It's probably a generic one, like kind of how it'd be like marine.ml instead of marine.mil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or like Pentagon, like the basic emails that like so many things go to. I bet you that's what it was.
Can you imagine being the intended recipient and then just being like constantly bitched at about the email that you really weren't getting and trying to explain to them, I'm not getting the email. You're like,
I know I fucking sent it.
Why don't you check your fucking email? We sent that brief through your email. Like, I didn't get it. Bullshit, you didn't get it. I need you to report to me and like you're gonna get fucking an Article 15 or whatever for not like, being on top of it and shit and like trying to explain I am not getting this email.
I got the delivery receipt.
Yeah, well, it says delivered. I'm like, yeah, well, I haven't received it. Bullshit. Check your spam folder.
Put a read receipt on, bitch.
And then, yeah, like just constantly getting bitched at for that. So
like I can understand once or twice, maybe. If you're going fast, you just type.
But over the course of a decade, bro.
Yeah. Come on.
So none of these emails were classified, but some contain highly sensitive information, the FT said. Zerbier said that he sent information such as maps, personal medical records, tax records, crew lists for ships, and photos of bases.
I mean, the maps, personal medical records, and tax records, bruh.
This one's cool. The email contained the official travel itinerary for General James McConville, the U.S. Army Chief of Staff, and his delegation for a trip to Indonesia in May. It included their room numbers and details, including how McConville could collect his room key, the FT reported.
Wow.
That's very compromising. Other emails included diplomatic letters, terrorism assessments, and briefings, and the State Department passport numbers. Cool.
Wow.
Zerbier told the FT he'd seen about 1,000 emails a day being sent to the wrong domain. He's tried to warn the U.S. by alerting Dutch diplomats, a senior national cybersecurity advisor, and White House officials, but the problem persists. His contract to manage the domain was set to expire Monday. This means Mali's government now has access to the domain and further emails received. So he doesn't own the domain anymore. The government of Mali does. Russia has given significant support to the Malian government, including weapons, diplomatic backing, and the help with information campaigns. The Wagner Group, the Russian mercenary company linked to the Kremlin, also operates in Mali. I mean, do they still kind of now? I mean, after everything that just happened? You know, the attempted coup and all that. A Pentagon spokesperson, Lieutenant Commander Tim Gorman, told the FT that the Defense Department is aware of the issue and takes all unauthorized disclosures of controlled national security information or controlled unclassified information seriously. Evidently fucking not, because 10 years,
clearly.
They tried telling you for 10 years and you couldn't be bothered to do shit about it.
I hate the way that they wrote Lieutenant Commander, too.
I mean,
you know what bothers me the most about it?
What's that?
Most, if not every single email, like an Outlook or Gmail or whatever, they're sending the same emails to the same people, right?
Yeah.
Or sending emails to the same people. That is saved. You don't even have to fully put in an email address. You can type in like 3 letters and it pops up
it
the
shortcuts
email
it.
being sent
It
to.
shortcuts it.
How do you just not note it and be like, hey, delete that. Use the right one. The fuck?
It's the military, man. People don't do things the way they should. You know this.
I know, but it's so easy to fix. Takes 2 seconds. Literally takes 2 seconds.
Oh, now listen to this. U.S. military email accounts also notify personnel if they're trying to send a message to addresses with the .ml domain and will automatically block the email from being sent. Now they do it. The Pentagon and the Malian government did not immediately respond to requests for comments sent outside regular business hours.
Outside of regular business? Why was that added in there?
I mean, honestly,
Cannot bother me past 5. Fuck off.
which means that it's their nice way of saying go away. That's crazy. That's a lot of super sensitive. It's granted, yeah, it's not classified, but it is pretty fucking sensitive, and in the wrong hands could do a lot of damage. You know,
significantly.
Shit.
Honestly, you could probably do more damage because with the amount of just the socials alone and tax information and shit, you could do so much with that shit.
Fuck yeah.
Could you imagine being an enemy of the U.S. and they're like, "Hey, we just got all this information about this general. We're gonna send it over to you." And you're like, "Oh, cool. How'd you get all that information? Like, what'd you do to do that?" And
They
like,
sent it to me.
Like, what do you mean? No, they sent it to me. Like, they just straight up wrong email. So I've got it. Here you go.
Wrong. Yeah, I didn't have to do anything suspicious.
I
They're
was
stupid.
just sitting there and they sent it to me. Like,
That's
Good
that
lord.
shit, dude. That
I
shit,
get them every day. That's crazy.
That is, and it's wild, dude. Which it should be concerning because all of our personal information is out there too. You know, our social security numbers, like, and to know that this shit happens so often, where personal information gets accidentally leaked somehow by either a typo or a fucking domain breach that they didn't notice in their security settings and shit. And how people just could have had a free reign to all your personal information for an undisclosed amount of time because they don't even know.
I always wonder about that. Every fucking breach or something, like, was mine in there?
Yeah.
think about how, like, what was it? How much, like, social security numbers were thrown around.
Oh, dude.
It's like,
Even
hey, go
just at
give this guy
maps.
your social. And it's like, okay.
Sure.
They write it on a little fucking sticky. You don't know if they
You write it on
shredded
a
it.
sticky. You send it in a text. Like I remember I had one. They were like, "Hey, I need all of your team's social security numbers." And I'm like, "Okay." So I texted all my guys and like, "Here you go." And just
And
send
even
it.
like just
Send
like
it to the sergeant. And he's like, "Thanks, appreciate it."
all
You're
the
like, the fuck.
all the fucking like the dumb little pieces of paperwork that get passed around to every fucking S shop that has your social security number on and all your personal information on it, and like it just gets you have like 100 different pieces of paper with all your personal information on it, just floating around some of the admin offices, even at MEPS. How many people you gave your fucking social security number at MEPS, and how many documents of that was copied and just distroed all throughout the fucking DoD network, crazy. So the Army reservist accused of defrauding Gold Star families out of millions. And I'm
There's just gonna be a part of this that makes it even more fucked up.
Oh, great. So U.S. Army reservist is accused of defrauding multiple Gold Star families, according to the Department of Justice. He's an officer?
Yeah.
Major Kaz Craffey, 41 of New Jersey, allegedly duped grieving military families into giving him their relatives' military benefits? You mean like their fucking payouts? Their 400K payouts?
Yeah.
From May 2018 and November 22, Craffey obtained more than $9.9 million from Gold Star families to invest in accounts managed by Craffey in his private capacity. Once in control of this money, Craffey repeatedly executed trades, often without the family's authorization. These unauthorized trades earned Craffey high commissions. So he was dumping it in like stocks and shit.
Yeah.
According to DOJ, Craffey faces 6 counts of wire fraud and 1 count each securities fraud, making false statements on a loan application, committing acts of furthering personal and financial interest, and making false statements to a federal agency. Stealing from Gold Star families whose loved ones made the ultimate sacrifice in service of our nation is a shameful crime. That is 100% true. As alleged in the indictment, the defendant in this case used his position as an Army financial counselor to defraud Gold Star families, steal their money, and enrich himself. He was a fucking financial counselor for the Army.
It doesn't say it here, I notice. He worked directly in conjunction with the Keiko officer.
With a what?
The scene affairs. The people, like when those families get word that someone died, they're the ones that work with that family, either like the next of kin or the family or whatever, to get them basically set up with everything that they need to do, like funeral services, like all that type of stuff. And he worked directly with the Keiko officer.
That is bad. The wire fraud.
And he was using his position, like his civilian position, with like the financial shit, and like unauthorizedly like sending them over here, like, hey, take your money over here and they'll invest it. And it's me.
The wire fraud and securities fraud charges are each punishable by a maximum of 20 years in prison. Each of them, huh? So beneficiaries and service members who die during active duty are entitled to a $100,000 death gratuity and the soldier's life insurance of up to $400,000.
It's actually 500,000 now.
Can I just say, what a crime for an officer. So fitting. Just a white collar crime. You've got enlisted out here, like we were talking earlier about, like, murder and all this stuff.
Murder, heroin, human trafficking.
I am actually transferring funds and investing them into my own accounts and not telling anybody.
100%.
What an officer crime.
He wasn't even good at it. Like Angry Cops covered this. So apparently he wasn't even good at it. He lost most of that money. So of the 9.9 million, he only got commission of like around 2 million or so.
The rest was just lost all that shit,
gone.
So he was a terrible investor.
Exactly.
So he not only was he stealing money from people, but he was such a bad investor that he was losing money himself.
No. He was getting his compensation.
He was getting his compensation, but he wasn't.
He was losing it for them.
What a fucking piece of shit, dude. Like that, you have to be an extra piece of shit to do some shit like that. That's wild.
It makes it worse because he's fucking his brother and sister's families out of that shit. He's like, I don't give a shit that they died. I'm gonna take their money from their family
He looks at everybody on when a deployment rolls around like a fucking dollar sign. Is what he does.
Basically, he's like, "Oh, if you die, I can take your shit. If you die, I can take your shit."
Stay safe on deployment. And in the back of his mind, it's like, I hope you get fucking blown up.
Probably.
And what's your family's personal information so I can, you know, maintain and see that your finances are all secure? What a fucking piece of shit. I hope
Most people are worried about their buddies coming home and fucking their wife, taking home.
I know. Whatever happened.
This guy's like, I'm taking the family's money.
Whatever happened in the old days where you're just more worried about Jody. Now you're worried about some fucking officer and admin like stealing your money, stealing from your family. So some gaming news now. So Call of Duty renames the controversial MW2 operator. So
what is it with Call of Duty, Activision? There's just so much controversy. Can they stay out of the news?
Like, look at Diablo. Diablo's facing a lot of controversy. One, because of the shitty patch they did, but two, now their season pass rolled out, and they conveniently put the upgrade to premium season pass next to your season pass progression button. So you accidentally click on that to look at your seasonal progression, and like it's on stream. Like a lot of these streamers are accidentally fucking paying money because there's no like click to continue. You click and it automatically it's instant. It's the same shit that Fortnite got sued for. Remember when Fortnite got sued for that same shit?
Yeah.
They're doing the same fucking thing, where it automatically when you're on console, it's even easier to do this. Because when you go to console, it puts you right to the button to upgrade your season pass to premium, and it charges you immediately.
Wow. Well, on console, because PlayStation, whenever I hit anything to buy, it takes me to the PlayStation Store first, and then I have to click it.
Yeah, on PlayStation, someone was streaming it from their PlayStation, and it didn't even do that. It just automatically added the funds.
That's insane.
And I can see a fucking lawsuit coming out of that one. Anyway,
They've got so many losses. Maybe that's why their fucking game sucks. Like all those billions of dollars
they're trying to scam
making off of
people.
the store. They're just paying for their fucking legal fees.
It probably is. So with the release of MW2 and Warzone 2 Season 4 back in June 14th, Activision revealed a bunch of operator skins that would be coming to the game. Out of all of them, the anime-style Izanami skin got the most attention as it was the far most eye-catching, colorful, and flashy. As a result, a lot of the community claimed the design didn't fit the military theme of COD, which, if you look at it, it doesn't, and felt it would be out of place.
It's a fucking arcade shooter.
It really is. I mean, look at that. Does that look like some shit that you'd fucking see in a combat zone? No.
I'd wear it.
You'd wear it?
We'd
I would too. Shortly after this, players pointed out another problem with the cosmetic that involved its name, which is extremely offensive when spelled backwards. In response to the backlash, the devs have changed the skin's name ahead of its upcoming release. So for people asking, where is the Izanami bundle, Activision renamed it to Izzy. If you want to know why, spell Izanami name backwards, where it spells, I'm a Nazi. I honestly, I personally think that was completely not intentional.
No. It wasn't. It was not. That's why I was saying earlier. I think it's reach. I think it's a lot of people get into conspiracies. And stuff and be like,
I don't know.
It's all a conspiracy. It's all hidden messages. It's like, nah, they named it Izanami. Like, and then someone read it backwards, and they were like, oh, and everybody was like, you're right. Holy shit, they're telling us.
They're like, oh fuck, how did we miss that one?
And whoever named it, whoever like came up with the name and they wrote off on it, I'm sure they got in trouble. And they were like, dog, I wasn't even fucking looking at that. It's a name. Like,
why would I ever think that?
why would I ever look at a name and go, I'm a Nazi? Oh, like, no.
I like how this article kind of like, insults your intelligence. It says, as reported on Twitter, the anime style bundle was recently renamed by the devs after backlash from players. The community pointed out the name spelled backwards. The name is incredibly offensive and need to be addressed. And then down here it says, in case you haven't worked it out, Izanami backwards is I'm a Nazi in a game that would trod a fine line between the use of offensive symbolism. We're sure the devs didn't realize what they were doing with this anime-themed skin, but still, it surprisingly got past so many people without being picked up, because no one is trying to say, is there a subliminal message if I spell this backwards? Or if I move all the letters around?
They also don't really have a quality assurance team. We've pretty much deciphered that.
Well, here's the other thing. It's worth noting that Izanami is the deity of creation and death in Japanese mythology. So this is likely where the devs got the inspiration for the name. So it wasn't because you know, they were trying to hide shit. It was like Izanami is the deity of creation and death in Japanese mythology.
I knew that sounded familiar because I played Smite. I
Um,
used to play Smite a lot, and that's one of the characters.
let's see.
I'm so
That's-
glad I deleted this game.
I am too. I can't. For some reason, the game likes to try to update itself, and I stop it because I'm like, I don't want to fucking. You think that I'm gonna fucking play you? No, I'm not.
I just play DMZ. DMZ's like DMZ's the only thing I play on it.
I've been playing a lot of Empyrean lately with Det and Oakley. It's like
Speaking of extractions, though, we're gonna have some big news coming up.
with what?
Extraction shooters.
Well, yeah. I mean, we can talk about that right now.
I know.
So we got access to Dr. Disrespect's Dead Drop, and we're playing it to review it. Do you not know?
Excuse me for. No, I have no idea.
Oh, so you know who Dr.
Midnight
Disrespect
Society?
is, right?
You know, I know Dr. Disrespect.
So you know how he's making a game.
No.
You didn't know
What?
so he's been making his own video game with Midnight Society, his own studio, and it's called
Okay.
Dead Drop. It's an extraction shooter. The other thing is it's it's in like you can find, and it's like imagine Tarkov except there's NFTs that you can find and sell them.
But it's doing it in the way of CS:GO.
Yeah, it's the same way as CS:GO is doing it.
Interesting.
The gameplay is kind of fun. Just because it's still like pre alpha that there's not really that many people on usually. So I've been in many matches where I've probably seen a person once every 5-6 matches. But that was also like before like an update came out, like an event rolled out. So there was nobody on during that time, and during the event everybody was on. But I mean the
It's
game
pretty cool though, because it gives us access to check out the changes and new pieces of the development.
I need to dive
throughout
into it
its
more to really
process.
give it a proper, kind of give it any kind of proper
Like
criticism or any kind of proper like pre-release review. One thing that I did notice so far, and I haven't dived back into it to see if they've adjusted it all, is the audio. And
Everyone's gonna be talking about
it's so Dr. Disrespect is also really famous about hating Call of Duty's audio. So a lot of people were like really wanting like saying like the audio of this game better be like top notch. And the audio is good in areas. The one thing that I noticed is that the footsteps are kind of a little wonky because a person can be walking right behind you and it sounds like they're on the floor above you. So
the directionality needs work then.
Some things with the UI, but then again, it is still really, really, really early in development. So a lot of UI changes keep rolling out. So I think when the next update comes, when they add these things, there's gonna be more UI changes. But these are things that they want to know about so that they can add them or fix them. So this isn't us shitting on the game. It is fun to play. It's just these are things that they need to know so that they can go and do their thing as developers.
That's pretty cool though.
It is pretty cool. It's fun. I like the fact that your prox chat is always on. So like you don't have to hide. You can't. I don't think you can turn it off. Like everybody, if you're talking, people will hear you. So it's very
interesting. So even if you're in a Discord call, then it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, we tried this because we were in a Discord with Cozy and you, and me. It was me, you, and Cozy, and the people that were in the match with us could also hear us.
Oh,
because
okay.
when he was trying to explain it to us, they could hear us, and that's how they found us.
Serge all chatting it up.
Just all chatting it up, explaining how the game works, and it's like it's kind of cool because it makes you mindful of your comms. Because if you're being a chatty Cathy over there, and your mic's, I don't know if you can mute yourself in the game, or hotkey it. I haven't really gotten to dive into that part yet. But if you're being
that's interesting too, because it means
there's also a setting you could take your microphone off, switch it to something that's.
I think it'd be interesting if they don't, because you think in Call of Duty people use that, they abuse that system basically. So they'll
every game
have
that has
their,
that
especially on
it.
Discord, they'll be in Discord so they can communicate, and they're using the game chat to hear other people. And we had that problem with that other game that we played together as well.
Insurgency?
Yeah, and people would fucking do that shit.
Yeah, people would Insurgency when the prox chat, the enemies can hear you on in your team VC if you're in the game. But you could go into Discord and communicate, and people can't hear you. So it's not like in Call of Duty where you have comms. Like typically in multiplayer, you have death comms, and in DMZ
Well,
you
there's
have
proc chat and
there's proc chat in
Warzone.
Warzone. The thing is, people could abuse it because they could hotkey it, right? So they could hotkey it when they want to talk to you, but when they're communicating, they're just talking to each other within the fucking within Discord, and you can't hear them, but they can hear you. So I like the fact that Dead Drop, for right now, from what I can see, doesn't let you hide your voice, hide your comms.
I like that.
So you can't have any kind of advantage. Even though you are in Discord and you are talking to each other, you can hear each other in Discord, but the enemy can also hear you. I do like that. Speaking of Call of Duty.
I hope it sticks around.
So Xbox has signed a binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation after its acquisition of Activision Blizzard. So and this was updated on the 16th. The deal between Microsoft and Sony to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation has been confirmed to last for 10 years. As reported by The Verge, Carrie Perez, head of global communications at Xbox, shared the deal is also just for Call of Duty and not for any other Activision Blizzard game. The proposal initially included all existing Activision consoles titles on Sony, including future versions of Call of Duty franchise or any other current Activision franchise on Sony through December 31st, 2027. God, that feels like it's so far, but so close. But it appears that has changed. So Phil Spencer has revealed that Microsoft on PlayStation have signed an agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation following the acquisition. Spencer took to Twitter to announce the news and share that he is looking forward to a future where players have more choice as to where they want to play their games. You know, the thing that PlayStation was afraid would happen, or afraid wouldn't happen. We are pleased to announce... we already read this. So no further details about the binding agreement, quote unquote, were shared by Spencer, so it's unclear exactly how long it is for what it entails. It does, however, follow Microsoft's FTC trial, where Spencer said he will do whatever it takes to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. So
it's just financially smart for them to do that, too.
Oh, it would be. So in December 22, it was reported that Microsoft's offer to Sony was to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for 10 years, and Sony had the rights to put Call of Duty on PlayStation Plus if it desired. It remains to be seen if that agreement has two companies agreed on or if the things have changed since then. This is just one more way Microsoft is working to be able to finally close the $67.8 billion deal and appease these groups, including the FTC and the CMA, who have been against it. The clock's ticking, however, as the deal and the deadline has a deadline of July 18th. It was not closed by then.
It got pushed back.
It did it? I had a feeling.
They got it approved to get extended.
If the deal is not closed by then, Xbox would need to pay $3 billion to Activision Blizzard, and the two companies would be able to negotiate the terms of their merger.
Yeah, it got pushed back. I remember seeing an article. I didn't read the full thing, but it got pushed back. I think
even if the deal doesn't go through, Activision comes out with $3 billion.
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
I've been super jealous though because of all the COD the server updates that they did. So like all the Xbox and PC people are able to go back and play all the old Call of Duties right now.
Those games needed that though, because
they did need it.
The whole fucking security issue. Blake, do you know about the security issues with the old Call of Duty games?
People being able to hack the shit out of them?
Yeah.
Kind of deal?
Yeah, so the servers weren't being updated. So like people were able to install malware to your console, even if you, even if you're on console. So like people could install that shit to your shit and there was nothing you could do about it. And you didn't even have to like open anything. They could just do it.
Yeah, because your IP was just that exposed.
And it was even happening to newer titles like Cold War.
And they updated that too.
So they updated all that, right? And I played a little bit. I played, what was it, like Modern Warfare 2 and 3 and a little bit of World at War. And told my roommate about it, and he downloaded Modern Warfare 2, and he'd been playing it all week. And just a couple of days ago, he gets into a game, and they're playing just fine. And this one dude comes in, hacks the fucking lobby to shit. He killed one dude and got like 9 million XP or whatever, like completely maxed out on everything immediately. And then got his account banned because that dude joined in and hacked the lobby, and everybody else had all that shit happen. So
I have heard of that happening.
All in a week.
Exclusive Ace was talking about it because he said he'd heard reports of that happening. He's like, it's still a risk, and they're not 100%. Like they're updated, but they're still not the
Still a
best.
little wonky.
Yeah. So they're safer, but it's still pretty easy for people to do it and hack into it. And they've been seeing, because they're active on it now, they've been seeing people get banned because like they're in the same lobby as them, which is crazy to me.
That's like a
like
fucking,
what can you do about that?
That's like a fucking scorched earth way of going about it, you know? Like, oh, you were in the same lobby as them? Guess what? You're being punished too, bitch. That's crazy.
Like that's insane to me.
They must have
like,
some
it makes
fucking
me,
Sergeant Major
like,
or something as their developer. Mass
I was
punishment.
just about to say that.
as much as I want to play them, like I wouldn't want that to happen to my account, honestly.
No.
I played it for a little bit, and it was fun and all, but it's also like I got my quick fix of like blast of the past kind of deal, because it's also like it's still wonky, you know, it's not as smooth as games are now, you know, playing it. And I was like, okay, I don't know how we used to play this for hours and hours and hours compared to what we got now as far as like hit markers and all that kind of stuff, where you're just like, hold on, I shot that dude in the chest, I watched it happen, nothing happened, you know what I mean?
That happened to me when Modern Warfare 2019 came out, and then there was the Modern Warfare 2 remaster. I played the remaster after playing Modern Warfare 2019, and I was just like, dude, this feels like shit.
Yeah, and which was still better than the original, technically.
It's
as
crazy
far as movement and shit.
Even like for movement and stuff, like going into the menu to change your sensitivity and stuff, it's not like a bar. I forgot that it was just high, medium, low. That's it. That's all you get for changing your sensitivity.
There's no selector. There's no selector at all, so you're just like stuck with whatever it gives you.
Yeah, I don't think the numbers
you get three
started
options.
coming
That's
in.
it.
I don't think the numbers started coming in until like Black Ops 2.
I think somewhere around that.
It was just wild to play those games again, and I'm like, oh my god, we were really like primal compared to what we got nowadays.
Dude, I know.
Like, this is what you get. Here you go. Have fun.
It's like going back to GoldenEye, and you have like this memory of what GoldenEye looked. And I mean, you knew it was kind of boxy, but you didn't know how bad it was until you played it again, and you're like, God, this is terrible. How did I like this?
I saw this video recently. It was called "Gaming Has Become So Lonely Now," and it brought up how like back in the day, where you had like everyone was in a lobby, everyone had their in-game mic, right? If you had an in-game mic, that was it. You were in there with everybody, especially on Call of Duty. Like the whole lobby'd be there, and then you had your whole team once you were in the game, and they had persistent lobbies, so you could. That's how you met all of your friends, right? You just get random invites all the time. Sometimes you just check it out, see what's going on. But now, I'll play if I'm just fucking around, I'm bored. Like I might hop into a little bit of shipment just to pass some time if I'm like waiting for one of my friends to join some DMZ. It's just fucking silence. You don't hear a damn thing. Like there's nobody in microphones because you got Discord, you got the console chats, which even when those came out weren't that big of a deal because a lot of people would still choose to be in game chat. So the persistent lobbies thing, it was a big change. And now it's just silence. Like the only time anyone ever talks shit or brings their mics on is to basically just talk shit. And gaming is so boring now. And you don't meet your friends. You don't meet your friends online anymore. Like you don't get those random invites. So that most of the time you're like, "Who the fuck is this?" Now you just in Discords.
Yep.
No one really plays to play with people anymore. It's like literally to go in and try to be the best one in the lobby and talk as much shit as you can. Like I get into a game. Last thing I want to do anymore in a game is have my mic on and talk to random people because I know people are just going to talk shit. I was playing PGA 2K23 the other day. Okay. Forgot that I had my mic on there. Like some setting got wonky and my mic was on. Go into this match with my buddy. And there's this dude with his mic on. And I'm like, oh shit, I've never played this and someone had their mic on before. This is crazy. And we're just sitting there like, hey, like what's up? Like laughing. First thing he says when he gets into our lobby, because me and my buddy did like his character super tall, mine's short. We look exactly the same, but I'm like the mini me version. Come in first thing he goes, oh, look at these fucking tryhards. And I'm like, you click 3 times in this game. It's a golf game. Okay, whatever. So we get into the game, and we start laughing about it. Like, oh, that's hilarious. And the guy goes, are you listening to my fucking conversation right now, you fucking loser? And we're like, dog, turn your mic off. We can hear you if you don't want us to hear what's going on. And he's like, fuck you. And we're like, this is PGA. Like, what are we doing
We
here?
are
We're here to
playing
play
golf.
Like, and fucking, we start playing this dude. It was so good. It was glorious. It was like a symphony by the end. This dude and his buddy sucked, like terrible. Like this dude would hit practice shots on a video game. Let me say that again. He would hit practice shots in a video game,
and
then hit it into the water. And we're sitting there. He does his practice shot. My buddy goes, "Oh yeah, do those practice shots and hit it into the water, bud." And he brings the ball out, hits it dead into the water, and we just start dying laughing. And this guy was like an asshole the entire time. And we get to the end of it, and we kick their ass. We stomped them. And I was like, "All right, thanks for playing my game, bud. How about you go delete it and play something else?" And he got so fucking mad. And I was like, should have been an asshole. Like, I was kind of excited for, like, chill conversation, you know, over a little bit of PGA.
How much does
Those are the types of moments that don't happen anymore, though. Like, back in the day, that would happen all the time. Hell, random conversations, because you would just, everyone be open mic, and you could just be talking randomly to people, like, playing the game. Now, if you ever hear somebody's mic, all you hear is maybe some call-outs, because everyone's trying to be the biggest fucking sweat of all time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So now if you get an in-game chat, you're not having random conversations with people. You're just hearing call outs, which is cool and nice when you actually do get it. But it's not the same feeling.
Also,
you know what I mean?
how depressing does your life have to be that you get that heated over golf? Over a golf video game? Like what?
I don't know.
Did your wife like fuck your neighbor? Like what's going on, man?
He's not married. Come on, let's be real.
That's true.
And the best part is he had his mic on, and he had his buddy in the same room as him in the background. What are you doing playing PGA with your mic on with your buddy in the same room? What the fuck? Like, take your mic off. Hang out with your buddy. What the hell?
He's the same guy that when you take him to an actual course, he's just like not a fun person to be around. He takes it so seriously. It's like, dude, we're just drinking beers and smoking cigars and just like chipping balls across the fucking fairway. Who gives a shit? You know? Yeah,
it was just so funny for my buddy to call him out though and be like, "Yeah, hit that practice shot, hit it in the water." That's the funniest thing. I wish everyone in the world could have been there.
I'll have to send you guys that video later, because it's good to watch, because it's nostalgic, and you really think about just how much the community aspect of gaming has changed. Because without Discord, it's nothing.
Even with Discord, people often sit in VCs and just not talk. Just being quietly. It's just like, you good over there? Yeah. Okay. You're just being really quiet. Like, I just got nothing to say. Like, so what are you doing?
Why are you here?
Like, why are you in here? You want to just hear the rest of us talk? What's up, man? You good?
You talking about like actual friends ears or whatever?
No, just random people. Like there will be people in VCs, and I get it. Like, a lot of people are introverted; they don't want to talk. It's like, but you know, like, just try to engage with people. Try to talk to each other. You know, that's where some of the best conversation happens. You know,
I will say this though, for people like that, like it's a lot of like comfort for them. You know, like they don't really have much to say, but they feel included, and they feel like, okay, cool, and like it's kind of them coming out of their shell. You know what I mean? Some people just kind of want to listen because they don't want to listen to their mind. So they're like, I'd rather just listen to some other people talk shit, you know? Yeah. And if something they're so inclined and something they're like, actually, I can identify with that. Fuck yeah, let me throw my 2 cents in there for 3 seconds. So
in a large group, that's acceptable. But when there's only like 2 people in the chat,
when there's like 3 or 4 of you, yeah, it's just like, and nobody's talking. It tends to get a little like, hey man, like, there's been many games where I'm in there and I'm in a VC and there's like 4 people, 5 people. No one's talking. I'm like,
silent as fuck.
And then I break the ice and I'm like, so is everybody still here? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, you're just being so quiet. Are you good?
Yeah.
But all right, so let's talk about the defector to North Korea.
Oh yes, he's my favorite celebrity right now.
Who? Kim Jong-un?
No, this guy.
The U.S. soldier,
just a ridiculous human being.
The U.S. soldier facing misconduct charges defects to North Korea while shouting, ha, ha, ha.
You're going to be laughing for long.
So, U.S. Army soldier had been facing disciplinary charges while stationed in South Korea, strays from a tour of the North Korean border and fled into the Hermit Kingdom. That's fucking place. That's a place.
That's what I need to name my bedroom, is my Hermit Kingdom.
While shouting, ha, ha, ha. So he was laughing. Travis King, a U.S. Army member, had been held at South Korean prison over assault charges, was facing additional... Wait, hang on. Why was he at the fucking border doing a tour if he was held in a South Korean prison?
So apparently he was waiting on a flight, to go back, which wasn't even like a Mac flight, it was just a fucking civilian flight, I guess.
And they just relied on him to stay there?
He just fucking dipped out and was able to get onto one of these tours.
You know the procedure's going to change now because of this guy. So
everyone there is so fucked. Their liberty fucked. Everything just from here for the next like 5 years fucked.
So he's facing additional military discipline. He was set to fly back to the U.S. Tuesday with military personnel escorting him to the airport.
Who was watching him? We sleep on duty? What's happening here?
I don't know.
It was a couple. What are they called? The runners, the chasers, or whatever.
The
you get a couple guys and they just take a detainee and chase him around.
Yeah,
it was that, and they just said, "All right, we trust you to get on your flight, bud."
That procedure alone is going to completely change. I promise you.
Well, I had to do that course while I was in the Corps, and that is not how that is supposed to go. You do not take eyes off of that individual.
They're 100%.
Change over.
They're gonna be screwed.
Those guys
it's like
fucked
taking
up.
any post.
So those guys definitely fucked up. So, but King, a private second class, skipped his flight and was seen wearing civilian clothes while taking part in a visit to Joint Security Area, the border village in a DMZ, separating the two Koreas that is guarded by soldiers from both sides.
Hold on, a private second class.
So there's a private that's a fuzzy and a private that's just the skeeter wings. That's a private.
But I thought it was
class.
just private and then private first class.
PV2, private 2. There's private, which is okay. So on our ranks, so you know how we wear our rank on our chest, right? Where the Velcro goes. An E1 is a fuzzy, has nothing there. Yeah. An E2, which is the private with the one chevron, that's considered a PV2, private second class.
I thought that was a private first class. Wait, it was private first class.
Private first class is the one with the rocker on the bottom.
That's the E3, right?
That's the E3, yeah.
Okay.
So this guy was an E2. So a Swedish tourist who was on the same tour as King wrote in a Facebook post that a man on the tour ran across the border when they visited the Joint Security Area. To our right, we hear a loud ha ha ha, and one guy from our group that has been with us all day runs in between two of the buildings and over to the other side. It took everyone a second to react and grasp what had actually happened. Then we were ordered into and through Freedom House and running back to our military bus. So they were all told to get back on the fucking bus.
What? It's got a little picture. That's nice.
Yeah, thank you for showing us where the border is. So
I mean, a lot of people. I don't know what the fucking border is.
Another witness said that the tour organizers and other travelers did not have an immediate reaction to the man's antics. Of course you wouldn't. Like, you don't know what you're like. What the fuck is happening? Because that's initially what your reaction is. Like, I don't know what's happening. I thought it was a bad joke at first, but when he didn't come back, I realized this wasn't a joke, and then everybody reacted and things got crazy. Officials have yet to say how King eluded officials at the airport and made his way to the DMZ. And
of course not.
Of course they don't. We're closely monitoring and investigating the situation and working to notify the soldiers next of kin and engaging the addresses of this incident.
To address the incident.
To address the incident. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin told reports Tuesday. The private second class, the second to lowest rank in the U.S. Army, thank you, I didn't know that, NY Post, was not wearing...
This is a civilian article.
This is true. Was not wearing his uniform at the time. He had recently skipped a flight to the United States before making the deliberate decision to cross the U.S. border. To cross the border, U.S. officials said.
I still think one of my favorite parts is officials have yet to say how he eluded the officials at the airport.
Or better yet, how about this?
Means
it is unclear.
They're trying to figure out.
It is unclear why he missed his flight to the U.S. and crossed into North Korea.
Get the fuck out of here.
We all know why. He intentionally skipped his flight and thought North Korea won't extradite me. While officials said crossing was made purposely, it remained unclear late Tuesday morning whether the soldier had intended to defect to the rogue nation. I
think they mean how he missed his flight.
I can tell you how. He fucked off because no one was there.
Well, that's what I mean. That's the part that they're not telling us.
The UN command...
We know that was done incorrectly, but everyone else is like, how the fuck did he just get away?
I know. The UN command confirmed the incident in a tweet. The U.S. national on a JSA orientation tour crossed without authorization the DMZ into the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
That's the worst fucking name for that area.
100%. It's not democratic at all.
Take out Democratic, take out People's Republic, just Korea. That's about the only accurate part of that whole thing.
So we believe he is currently in North Korean custody and working to get our KPA counterparts to resolve the incident. The message continued, referring to North Korea's People's Army. The South Korea Defense Ministry did not immediately have any information on the American soldiers in detention by Kim Jong-un's regime. While the DMZ holds areas where visitors can explore to learn about the Korean War, it remains unclear if King was in that area when he was detained. State Department travel advisory bans U.S. citizens from entering North Korea due to the continuing serious risk of arrest and long-term detention of U.S. nationals. The ban was enacted after an American college student was detained by North Korean authorities while on a tour of the country in 2015. He died in 2017, days after he was released from prison. And
returned in a coma.
He was returned to the U.S. in a coma. I remember this. And you know what he did?
Don't.
You want to? I do. So this college student went to North Korea, just kind of like, on a tour, and he stole a piece of propaganda poster. He stole a poster, and they detained him and put him in a and what was it? What kind of camp do they call these? A work camp or whatever the fuck. And the U.S. was trying to get him back for a couple of years, and North Korea finally gave him back, and the dude was in a fucking vegetative state. So the State Department warns that the government is unable to provide any emergency services to citizens detained in North Korea because no diplomatic relations exist within Pyongyang. So he thought he would get away from extradition by going here. And now, guess what?
Not wrong.
He's not wrong, but he also ain't making it back. King's detainment came as U.S. and South Korean officials were meeting in Seoul to reaffirm their commitment to defend democratic nation in case of an attack from their communist neighbors.
He's going to try to be used as a political pawn, though.
Oh, 100%. It also came the same day the ballistic missile nuclear-capable submarine USS Kentucky arrived in Busan, South Korea, for the first port visit to the country by a Navy sub in roughly 4 decades. The move was so this dude is like fucking messing up tensions between both countries. The move is expected to draw ire of Pyongyang, which technically remains at war with South Korea despite signing an armistice agreement ending effective fighting in 1953. So yeah, good job, dude. He went from going to jail in the U.S. to, or actually maybe facing charges and a little bit of jail time, to he is now going to be put into a slave camp and may never come back.
Yeah. Have you ever listened to the Joe Rogan episode of that woman that escaped North Korea?
And the shit and how life is over there? Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane, dude.
They're starving all the fucking time.
I'm willing to bet he thought, I can outrun those guards and get lost inside of North Korea. So he's probably like, the U.S. won't cross the border to come get me. So he probably thought he could outrun and just start a life, just get lost in North Korea, be his own little guy. Didn't understand how much the government runs the country.
Right.
There's no hiding.
Like I said, fucking Joe mentality. 100%, where it's like the logic of a fucking private schmuckateli doing some stupid shit, and you wonder where this logic comes from. Like, how does this enter your brain as a good idea? And this is one of those moments where it's like, imagine being that NCO. Oh, God. Imagine being the NCO of...
Well, at that point...
Didn't you
point,
get
it's
on
not
this?
on his NCO.
Huh?
I did, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. At that point, it's not on the NCO, though. He's already, facing charges.
Not that NCO. The NCO of the guys that were supposed to fucking make sure he got on his flight.
Like escort his ass. Oh,
I'm willing to bet. Maybe they did transfer him over to the people that needed to hold him.
Like the civilian ones?
And whoever was
like
holding on
people?
to him. Yeah. Whoever was holding on to him was probably like, hey, sit right there. I gotta go piss real quick.
We'll
and he just comes back from a piss and he's like, where the fuck did he go?
What a fucking idiot.
He's gone. Shit.
I bet you what he thought. He was like, I'm going to go over this border because they it's like, haha, you can't cross this line. And then he was going to go off somewhere, probably hide for a little bit. Because I don't think anybody's stupid enough to think that they're going to make it in North Korea.
No.
Or that they're going to live there and have a good life.
I mean, he was stupid enough to think that jumping the fence was a good idea.
So what I think was he knew that nobody would pursue him over that line.
Yeah.
I think his intention was to like lay low for a little bit, like maybe go down the line a little bit more, cross back, and then try to like leave the country on his own.
Yeah, but do you know how heavily guarded the North Koreans hold that border?
I'm not saying it was a foolproof plan, but that's probably what he was thinking in his head.
But you can see the North Korean soldiers' presence there, so it's like
Not along the whole border though.
most.
Well,
of
it's
the
funny
border.
too, the fact that he had all this time, he got into he got into a guided tour, he did all this stuff, and he thought, let me cross that border as that line, right? Why didn't he just go, hey, I'm gonna go live in the woods for a couple days. I'm not gonna arrive on the plane. Obviously, I didn't leave. I'm gonna just go get lost in South Korea for a little bit. Why did he have to go over to North Korea?
Because he figured that, I'm sure it was that he figured that they would do a search party on him.
Probably.
Like a bolo.
You can get that's a lot of space. You can get lost.
Even
if you're
still,
willing to be
it is.
rough and dirty about it.
I mean, let's say this guy was not smart, so I doubt that like he
True.
could have like that wasn't his wheelhouse. The only thing that was in his wheelhouse is the fact they will not chase me if I go into North Korea.
Yeah, that's about as far as he fucking
And
got.
the plan ended there for him, and he was like, they can't chase me into North Korea, and I could probably avoid the soldiers that are there, and not. Get
I wonder
detained.
what his job was too.
I don't know.
Because what I'm wondering is maybe this could be a problem. Let's say he was like an intel guy.
Let's find out.
Because if he was like an intel guy, then he's very valuable to the North Koreans.
So I think this article actually might have a little bit of why is the fucking because it's a thunderous fucking ad. Let's look real quick because now I'm curious.
A thunderous ad.
It's huge.
Great
American
wording.
soldiers served nearly 2 months in South Korean prison, fled across a heavily armed border in North Korea. Let's see, private second. Well, he was being sent home to Fort Bliss on Monday. He was taken in the airport, escorted by as far as customs, but instead of getting on the plane, he left the airport and later joined a tour. He bolted across the border, which is lined it was lined with guards and often crowded with tourists. So he didn't go into some random spot. He ran into a very heavily populated area and thought that was where I'm going to go flee.
Mm-hmm.
They released limited information. Let's see. He was a Cav Scout. So he was what I did, but for the armor division. So he's a forward observer for the tanks. He was
maybe I don't know. Because he's military, he could end up being.
Oh, here's the thing, though. They don't even know that he's in custody because North Korea hasn't said anything.
Yeah, they haven't said a damn thing.
So they don't even know if he got detained.
Oh, they don't.
Oh, he just never came back, and no one knows what happened to him. They just last saw him in North Korea. Maybe his plan worked out. Maybe he's back in South Korea. Maybe he made it.
But didn't they say that they saw him get detained by like the North Korean people?
Did they?
They dropped him off at customs, from what it looks like.
So customs fucked up.
Someone fucked up. Let me see. Tours.
There's no way that this dude didn't have a military escort. That's part of procedure.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Like from the brig, aren't you supposed to have a military escort?
The rest of this article talks about the history of that area that he fucking.
Granted, it's from another country, so it could have special rules or whatever.
New York Times. Let's see. There's got to be like a fucking actual military website that talks about this. So yeah, he was just a Cav Scout. He wasn't really anything crazy, and nobody knows if the North Koreans actually got him or not, which is kind of wild. He could be off in the woods and dead, or he could be in a fucking encampment somewhere. And North Korea is just not saying anything.
There's actually people that cross the border every day too, because there are some. I think it's in Pyongyang. There's some North Koreans that do work in South Korea. And I think I don't think vice versa, but I'm pretty sure I remember seeing where there's few select people that work in an area, but the thing that keeps them from coming back is something with their family, like almost like threats.
So pretty
to
much,
their family
yeah,
if
pretty
they
much
don't
what it
come
is.
back
If they
from
don't
North Korea.
come back, their whole family's dead, basically.
Yeah.
Like they'll like
So
even
like they're
the
allowed
lady,
to work in South Korea.
the lady that was on Joe Rogan's podcast was talking about how they don't just punish you, they punish like generations of your bloodline.
Generations, yeah. It's like
Like,
3 generations or something.
They'll kill your wife, your kids, your grandkids, your grandparents, your parents. They'll punish everyone that's even knows you by association. They wipe everything out of from your. From
And they're
your
so
existence.
hungry. They said they'll see like bodies and people will just walk past it. Some people will be like taking pieces off the body for food because when you keep people hungry and hungry enough, that's all you can think about. That's all your mind is like. We just need to get food, any type of food, the next morsel to stay alive. You're not worried about what fucking gender people are. You're not worried about this was offending me on the internet. You're like, I need my next morsel to stay alive.
You keep them hungry, you keep them in control.
In the most extreme sense, like,
yeah,
that's how they're so successful in controlling the whole country.
Regiment in this podcast is also partnered with BR Paradox. BR Paradox is a company that specializes in custom-built PCs. So if you have an idea for a cool custom-built PC, they can definitely give you the hookup on that. But if you're not in the market for custom PCs, BR Paradox is a wide array of pre-built PCs that you could choose from at great prices. And if you're not in the market right now for a new PC, BR Paradox will definitely hook you up with an optimization. Optimizations take around 10-15 minutes to do, and they're very awesome. I highly recommend them. I had my PC optimized by them, and it's never run smoother since. BR Paradox also has a list of renowned customers ranging from LeBron James, Chris Brown, members of FaZe Clan, and even Angela White from your favorite orange and black site, if you know what I mean. So head on over to brparadox.com to get yourself a PC today or an optimization. And remember to use promo code REGIMENT at checkout. That's promo code REGIMENT down here at checkout. So we are now going to dive into the 150 reasons to not re-enlist. And Blake, I can't wait for you to tell us your experiences from these. So we're on number 41 right now. So I don't know if you're on that one yet. So reason 41. I love the fact that my opinion has about as much influence as my sister's pet iguanas. Which
doesn't even matter if you're right.
And it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're right. They don't give a fuck. Their opinion matters, not yours. Number 42. You do not have to respect the person. You have to respect what they wear on their collar or sleeve. That's also true. I had a butter bar that was a complete piece of shit. And because he was an officer, I couldn't do fuck all about it, even though I was like, I hope you fucking die. Like this dude, I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. Honestly, he was a piece of shit. Number 43, the U.S. ambassador's speech. Did you guys get that speech?
All the time. Especially
every
overseas.
Single time. Every single brief, every single going anywhere.
Being stationed in Italy, I got that a lot too.
But it's also kind of true though. Like I get it because the way it was always explained to me very early on, they're like, this is a very cliche speech. You're U.S. ambassadors, et cetera, et cetera. The reason that I was told is like, because no matter what, if you get in trouble, it's not gonna be Brandon was in trouble for this. It's gonna be a U.S. Navy sailor, a U.S. Marine did this. It's always like if you're in the military, they're not putting your fucking, they don't care about your name. They're care like, oh, this was in the military. They're putting your fucking branch and title out there.
Just like our last article, U.S. soldier crossed the North Korean border.
Yeah,
it wasn't
will always
his name.
Be a headline. It will never be swept under the rug. If anyone gets a hold of it in the public, it will be brought out and it will be blasted.
So it makes sense. Like we beat it to a dead horse. Like in the U.S., it's annoying. Overseas, it makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
Reason number 44. I love spending time with my family. And which is true because if you're in, good luck seeing your family. Like we fucking had this issue during the whole Atlantic Resolve thing when I was first in. We were never home. Like we even had a fucking leadership brief where they were briefing the spouses on like us going to Ukraine and stuff right after in like this lady is like, my husband just got back from a school, and then you sent him to the field, and he's been back for maybe a week, and you're sending him to Ukraine for months. I'm like, am I ever going to see my husband? And they're like, well, with the op tempo and everything going on in the world, he's needed elsewhere, type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, if the military wanted you to have a wife, they'd have issued you one, type thing.
Facts. I was about to say the same thing.
Number 45. Number 45. Not only rarely getting to do the job I signed up for, but getting stuck with as many additional duties as my chain of command wants to give me to do until those duties become my MOS. Oh my God,
Bro.
that is a fucking fact. I can't tell you how many guys I've seen that are doing shit that's not their MOS, but they get tasked out to these additional duties to the point where that now becomes the only thing they do. They don't even get to do their job.
It's literally my life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it was for you, Blake.
I mean, no, it's just grunt shit all the time.
But the Marines actually don't do that as much, honestly, because when they get what the Navy calls a fucking collateral duty, they just become that collateral duty, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you become the urinalysis coordinator in the Marines, that's what you do.
Yeah, that's same with the Army. If you are the fucking UPL, that is every time a piss test rolls around, that is now your job.
And like armory, like if you get sent to the armory, you're doing armory shit.
Or like
that was the only time I saw people get like put on like another MOS was like really just armory stuff. But that's where you put all the guys that like couldn't hack it as grunts. They're like, we're just gonna put you in the armory.
Same with
Count
with like
weapons,
computer
so, yeah.
admin shit. Like in our companies, we have our own admin guys, and they're infantry, and they're just sitting at a desk all day.
But that's their main job. See, I hate it that the Navy doesn't do that shit.
It's not their job. They are infantrymen, and their job is infantry shit. But they get put on this duty to like, hey, you're gonna be running the computer for the CO, and now that's all they do.
So I get that, but I'm saying that's what they're doing. They're doing that one thing. Whereas so the Navy does it to where they expect you to do your regular job and everything else that you get assigned.
Yeah.
So like both examples that we just had, the urinalysis and the admin thing, I do all of that and my regular job because the Navy has what we call collateral duties. It's a tradition that needs to die.
It's funny that this is the next one because of the email fiasco. Having to change your computer's password every 2 weeks to keep terrorists from hacking into our email. But all it takes,
get a fucking hieroglyph, your firstborn child in there.
Dude, the fucking password requirements are insane.
Can't use your last 5 passwords.
And yeah, and you have to like do all these weird spelling and symbols, and certain symbols aren't allowed, but other symbols are, and there's symbols that you don't commonly use, and it has to be like 20 characters, and you're just like, I can't come up with that.
And if you forget it, and then you're like, oh shit, I remember it now. Too late. Can't use your last password.
Yeah.
I am so happy I was never in a position where I had a computer or was regularly logging on to things.
Oh, you didn't have to go log on to do your online certifications or anything?
No, I had to do that, but that wasn't like, it's not like I was using a computer all the time, you know? So like changing the password was like, okay, I haven't done this in 4 months, you know, whatever, who cares?
All the fucking time.
Now, whenever I got out and started using a computer every single day for my job, I was so far behind on like how to use like Excel and even like emails and stuff like that. I didn't fucking know how to do any of it. So they were like, hey, put a signature in your email and like permanently. And I was like, how do I do that? And everyone that was getting trained in the room like looked at me. They're like, the fuck do you not know how to do that?
You got to convert it to a PDF. Like, how do I do that?
High school. Yeah, no, exactly. Like literally shit like that. And I'm like, I'm gonna need someone over here showing me how to do all this shit. Or like we'd be sitting there and they'd be like, all right, cool. Now hit the express key on your keyboard to like do this. And I'm like,
key?
Like you know how you can do combinations like Alt F4 to close a tab or fucking Control Shift Escape to get your task manager. They'd be like, yeah, dude, pull up your task manager. I didn't know how to do that, and I'm like, how the fuck do I do that? And they're like, hit the buttons on the keyboard, and I'm like, I don't see a task manager.
There are like 70 to 100 buttons on this keyboard. Which one?
Yeah, and they're like, oh, it's a combo of these 3, and I'm like, how the fuck was I supposed to know that? And they're like, everybody knows that, not
Clearly
me.
Not.
I don't.
I would just tell people, you're like, I'm a Marine. I'm stupid.
No, I did. People
crayon.
eventually got to a point. They're like, how do you not know how to do this? And I was like, dog, I've been shooting guns 4 years. That's it. That's all I've done. Last I did any education on how to use a computer was high school. Other than that, I've just been blowing shit up. And they're just like, oh, you're an idiot. And I'm like, sure.
Yeah, my skills don't translate. What do you want me to do? Number 47, the 4 Ps, piss poor prior planning. This is very accurate. You know, the fucking showing up 30 minutes prior to the 30 minutes prior, only to find out that no one had, like, I had this happen when we were in Poland. The company XO forgot to schedule buses to drive us back. And we ended up waiting 6 hours for him to finally get something to bring us back to Italy. So we sat there for the portion of the day, and we had everything broke down. We're like, buses spotted 09, get everything done. Like, got it. We did everything the night prior, got everything done the morning prior. And we waited, and like 2 hours go by, and we're like, where the fuck are the buses? And then my platoon sergeant came up and said, the XO forgot to actually schedule the buses. And we're like, oh, cool.
Hurry up and wait. I think the cell phone thing that makes this even worse, too, because it allows people to be lazy. It's made things easier, but it's made it, I think it's made it to where more people are lazy, because you're able to just send out a text. Like, the amount of fucking texts I get from my command at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock the day before, like just today, like an hour or two before we started recording, I got a message about muster tomorrow or formation at like 09, some shit like that. And I'm like, we're not even 15 hours before the fucking time. And we can't plan ahead of this.
Plans always keep changing too.
That's fine. And it makes it easy for when like shit happens, plans need to change, like urgent. I get it. But things that like you would typically see on like a plan of the week or plan of the day that's done ahead of time is able to just be like done right at the last minute.
Pretty much, yeah. When you get out, you'll only be 38 to 40. You still have your entire life ahead of you. Yeah, okay, I want to start my life at 38. That's also that's if you retire. Like for me, I got out when I was like in my late 20s going into 30. So
well, that's what they're talking about if you retire.
If you retire, it's like you still have your whole life ahead of you. It's like, I don't want to start my life then. Start it now.
See, I'll play devil's advocate. Holy shit.
Devil's
advocate here on this one. I got a buddy of mine. He was a sergeant major in the Army, and he just recently retired. And he was telling me after I got out, he was trying to convince me to go in and do active National Guard, because that's what he did for 20 years. Which is, I don't know if we've ever talked about this, one of the best kept secrets in the military that I come to figure out. You are active duty. You're just in the National Guard and you get to be home. So you're working every single day. Your deployments, all that kind of stuff.
Army has the same thing.
Every branch has that. The Navy, we call it full-timers or FTS, full-time service, where they're reservists, but they're active duty.
See, I didn't know that. I just learned
separate
that from
advancement
him
too.
Talking about it. Yeah. I just learned from him talking about it, and I was like, okay. He was trying to convince me to do that, because he still had pull in the place that he did full time, and he was like, dude, I can get you a job there. It would just be up to you to do a good enough job so that when it comes time to like figure out who they want to let go and who they want to bring in and everything like that, it'd be up to you to figure that out. Anyway, I was like, I don't know, I'm kind of enjoying the whole civilian thing. And he started telling me about like what he makes and all that stuff from retirement, and I was like, He's like, dog, I don't have to work ever again, but he's like, I'm still young. I'm gonna work this other job, and I make a shitload more than I ever thought I could have, and half of it I just is put in my pocket for doing nothing.
Does he have kids?
Yeah.
Man,
but he's still
don't have kids.
No, even well, one of them is in school. The other one's in college. The other one's going to college, I think.
Oh, he basically doesn't have kids.
Like he's an empty nester now. I mean, he's still got to help him out and all that stuff. But he was telling me, he's like, no, even with kids, he's like, I'm rolling. And I'm like, holy shit, dude. Made me think for a minute.
Probably rolling even more. You get paid more for having kids in the military.
Barely.
Barely, yeah. You still do.
The only thing you get is dependent BAH.
That yeah, that's true. So it's really not a lot. So number 49. Oh look, there's the boss. We better all stand at attention or parade rest until he or she tells us we can move. Do they do that in the civilian world too? No, they don't.
Yes.
What?
Yes, they do.
In some places,
The
in
fuck
like
you mean?
corporate,
Yeah.
in like big corporate places.
I gotta stand. My boss makes me stand at parade rest for him.
No, fuck, he does not.
Yes, it does.
I would be the person to be like, I'm 100% not doing that for you.
I'm kidding. I've never been told that at all.
I was gonna say that can't be true. That can't be true.
I just want to make a couple heartbeats skip.
I like mandatory fun days skits on this when he like has those civilians that are like the workplace outside.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't do that here. What do you do? What are you
I
doing?
made everybody show up 1 hour before work to
That's
be.
too much time.
It's fucking crazy, but it's true. Like I swear, when I was a pipe fitter, if that fucking shop manager ever tried that shit to me, I tell him like, you can go fuck yourself if you think I'm gonna do that. I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really more of the hierarchy in like a major corporation.
They also think it's funny, and I'm like, it's not funny.
I will say this that does suck is people still do try to quote unquote pull rank even in the civilian world. They'll try to pull their position on you and just be like, well, I'm this and you're that, and you're like, I don't give a fuck. Maybe talk to me like a man or woman, whatever you are. Who gives a shit? I don't give a fuck what you are. I promise you I don't give a shit.
It's facts too. I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, why are you trying to pull your position on me? Guess what? You shit the same way I do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, where was I? Okay, so do as I say, not as I do. I like how the underlined ones are like the big ones that everybody can relate to. Do as I say, not as I do. 173rd, first bat. I can tell you that right now.
Officers getting that slap on the wrist.
No matter where you go in your life, that is always prevalent.
That always prevalent.
Yeah, sadly.
It just seems to be very compounded in the military.
Oh, 100%.
Like, especially the officers and senior NCOs, just kind of, they will do things that they will punish you for, and nothing comes out of it. The second you do something similar and nothing comes out of it, they'll fucking ruin your life.
All the chiefs in the Navy.
Number 51 as a reason. I want to work somewhere that has total control of my paycheck so that they can take half if I mess up and tell a leader they have the competency of a potato. What did that say? I want to work somewhere that has a total control of my paycheck so that they can take half if I mess up and tell a leader they have the competency of a potato. So
like you can't tell your boss or like the CEO. If you tell the CEO or like your division leader, division officer, etc., you're probably going to mast.
Oh yeah, and then they'll take half your paycheck for it,
and you're losing half your paycheck. You tell your boss to fuck off in the civilian world, that's not legal. You can't fucking do that.
That always blew my mind. Is like, hey, so I had a couple buddies get NJP'd, so they got like stuck in the bricks, and they were like, yeah, they took half my paycheck. And I was like, you ever going to get back pay on that? And like, no, I'm not getting any of that money. And like the fact that they can just be like, we're going to take half of your money just to make sure you can't leave. Like, you could pay your bills. That's it. If you even have bills, like a car note and your phone bill, but like, that's it.
Then they take
like,
half as if you're making enough to fucking pay those bills in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what's crazy?
Hopefully you're not dumb and getting a fucking brand new Hellcat or whatever, and you're paying all this money, and then you get NJP, and you're like, "But sir, I can't pay my note." And then they're like, "Okay,
that's your fault.
Get rid of the fucking car then." Like,
they call that being awarded punishment. Like, I just think it's so ironic that the term is called
awarded punishment. You were awarded this punishment. Like, what? This doesn't feel like an award at all.
Yeah, this is I don't want it.
Let's see. How about this? If someone, number 52, if someone gets in trouble in a town, I won't have to get woken up the next day at 5 a.m. for a mandatory recall to have a stand down in formation for 4 hours and receive another safety brief on top of that one from Friday. That is facts. How many times did we get recalled because somebody got a DUI and everybody had to show up at like 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday because on Friday night someone got a DUI, and it was always someone that you have no idea who the fuck they are, but everybody's paying for it now.
I thankfully never had to experience that. It was always Monday morning. Monday morning is when it would be like, all right, motherfuckers. You know what I mean? But I don't
How
think,
nice of your command to actually wait until the next duty day. How nice of them.
But you had like stupid ass formations for safety briefs and shit. You had to wait for the goddamn CO or the first sergeant to come out, give you your fucking safety brief. Same shit.
Oh yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just glad it was never on a weekend at like 5 a.m. where it's like, hey, this actually does remind me. I had a buddy, this was like a week or two before I EAS'd. My roommate was on duty. Something happened, after he changed over or something like that. And our barracks, we shared barracks. It was golf company and weapons company in the same barracks. So me and him were golf, and he traded off duty with someone from weapons company. And it was a Saturday. He comes in from duty, goes to sleep. I'm still sleeping. And then just loud bang on the door. That aggressive, like, fuck you, get out here, bang on the door. I get up in my underwear, one eye open, crusted shut. And I open up the door, and I'm like, hey. And it's this gunny from weapons. And he's like, are you fucking so-and-so? I'm like, no. And I turn around, and I point at him, laying in his rack. And he's like, get the fuck up. And my buddy's like, what? He had been laying down for maybe 45 minutes. And he gets up and he goes, throw your fucking camis on, get the fuck outside. Okay. So he puts his camis on, he walks outside, and he's like, how can I help you? What's going on? And he starts getting mad at him. He's like, this, and shit about duty, fuck you, you fucking piece of shit, da da da. And he had slammed our door, by the way. I forgot to mention that. He slammed our door really fucking hard after he told him to get outside in camis. And he comes back up, and I'm like, dog, what was that? And he goes, he was trying to pawn some shit off on me that the guy I changed over with did or whatever to try and, like, make his guy not look bad. Like, come to find out, that's what it was. Like, it got resolved right there. Anyway, the dude broke our fucking door. So I went to the staff duty like a day or two later and went to put in a work ticket or whatever, a work order to get the door fixed, because I was like, I don't want the new guy coming in, to a broken door that won't lock. So I go in to go get it fixed, and I go to give my ID, and again, this is where the 2 weeks before I get out comes into play. I'm in there in civvies. I'm like, hey, I'd like to put in a work order. My door's broken and everything like that. And the guy on duty's like, how about you fucking try that again? What? He goes, how about you look at my collar and try that again? And I was like, oh, fuck. Staff sergeant, can I please put in a work order? And he goes, give me your ID. I give him my ID. I'm like, here you go. And he goes, here you go, what? Here you go, staff sergeant. I hand it to him, and he goes, oh, you're a Lance Corporal, huh? And I was like, no. No what? No, staff sergeant. I am not a Lance Corporal staff sergeant. I am a Corporal staff sergeant. And he goes, why the fuck did you not get your ID updated? I was like, I picked up Corporal a month before we left to Japan, staff sergeant. I didn't want to go get a new ID, staff sergeant. It didn't expire until I EAS, staff sergeant. And this sergeant sitting next to him, he's like his A duty, and he goes, who the fuck are you with? And I was like, golf company. I went, well, it was my, like, it was my people. And I was like, golf company. And he goes, you're fucking fucked up, aren't you? And I was like, no. What? And he fucking hands me back my ID. He goes, I put your work order in. And I was about to just be like, because it was a staff sergeant in that gunny's company. He was a weapons staff sergeant. And I was about to just be like, it was your fucking gunny came in and broke my fucking door. How about you hold staff, like, fucking staff NCOs accountable? But I was like, it's not worth it. I leave in 2 weeks. Grab my ID. I'm walking out the door, and I shouted out. I was like, thank fucking God I EAS in a couple weeks. And then walked out the door. Dude, it felt good.
Getting out is one of the most freeing feelings ever. It really truly is, because it's like,
can't relate.
Yeah, no, you can't, not yet. But like when it does happen, when that day comes, and you're just like, you don't have to fucking, like, all the and that's when they try to throw a lot of bullshit at you, and you're just, and then it rolls right off your shoulders, because you're like, this is not my problem in like a week. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
It might not happen for me though, because I'm going for retirement.
You poor son of a bitch.
Am I? Will I be poor? From apparently the sounds of it, I'm even doing pretty well.
So back to this. Number 53. Can we be tested to make sure we are physically fit every year? Only please make exceptions to this for obese 30-plus-year-old NCOs and officers.
Facts.
Oh my lord, that was crazy. I watched a gunny give his blouse to a staff piece and say, "Go run my PF or go run my CFT."
We had a fucking
Yes.
chief warrant officer that was like, he had to do the PT test, but he didn't fucking pass it ever. But they didn't care. They just made exceptions. They're like, oh yeah, he's retiring in like 6 months. And I'm like, he's still in for those 6 months. Hold him to the same standard you hold me to. What the fuck? Like
Double standard.
when I was getting out, they were still trying to make me take 4 record PT tests and then flagging me for re-enlistment. And I'm like, I'm getting out. The fuck you mean flag for re-enlistment? I can't re-enlist. Oh no, my contract ends. I can't re-enlist in case I change my mind. I wasn't changing my mind. The fuck? This dude's retiring. What are you going to do? You going to tell me that I can't have my VA benefits if I don't pass? Like, what the fuck?
I think that's what I'm going
lucky.
to do. I'm going to not passing my last PRT.
I got lucky with that shit. They tried to make me go run a PFT right before I got out, like a month or so before I got out. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And staff sergeant was like, you have to. You just do it. Just do it. Okay. And our thankfully our first sergeant CO like looked at the list of people EASing, and they were like, is anyone here EASing like have any chance of wanting to re-enlist? And we were like, no. And like, okay, we're not going to make you run the PFT. We're like, thank God.
They still made me run mine, and then they got pissed when I failed it because I didn't try. I purposely failed it because I'm like, I'm gonna do the absolute fucking bare minimum. I did the minimum push-ups, minimum sit-ups, and then I fucking basically walked my run. And they were just like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And I'm like, why would you fail that? I'm like, because I'm leaving. Why do I need to pass this? Well, in case you change your mind. I'm like, have I changed my mind yet? My jump log's closed. I'm cleared through everything, including I'm cleared through almost everything except the medical portion. And that's the only reason why they were able to make me take the PT test, because I hadn't cleared medical yet.
So many of these like fat higher ups that you're like, we know you're not actually fucking passing this shit.
They haven't passed in like 5 years.
But you're getting passed.
Because you can't fail them. God forbid.
You know what's ironic about all that? Like the whole PFA, PRT situation came about because of fat officers. Back when we rode horses into battle, the officers were too fat for their fucking horses to carry their fucking weight.
I absolutely fucking believe that.
They created I think it was a run test where they had to run up a hill in a certain amount of time and they had to run back down. We literally started the PRT because of fat officers, and now we've basically made a full 180 to where they're like, them and the higher enlisted are the ones that are able to get away with shit.
What's the next one here?
Taxes.
Where else can you pay taxes to pay your own paycheck?
That's funny.
It's kind of funny when you actually think about it, because your taxes that are getting taken out of your paycheck are literally going back into your paycheck just for you to pay taxes on them again. That is such the weirdest fucking thing ever. The
thing I hate is if you have state taxes.
Oh yeah, and you're paying your state taxes on top of
you're
federal
nowhere
taxes.
near that state. Yeah.
No, and I'm like in a whole different fucking place. I just got a DM from somebody on.
Have an income state tax.
I got a DM in my Facebook Messenger from somebody that I have not talked to since 2011.
Probably spam.
And they said, "Hey." I'm like,
riveting conversation.
I'm like, I promise you, I'm not replying to you. Not only does it seem kind of like suspicious, but it's also, I haven't spoken a word to you since in fucking 12 years. Wow, 12 years. I haven't talked to you in 12 years. I don't even know you anymore. And if you think that if you're going to like say, hey, how's it going? Can you do me a favor? I'm going to be like, I promise you I'm not going to do that. You fucking weirdo.
I guarantee if you respond, they're going to ask for money. My buddy had that happen to him like 2 days ago. Somebody hasn't talked to in like 4 years since we got out. He got a random DM from this guy. He's like, "Hey man, how you been? Like, it's been a while. Hey, can you slide me $50?" He's like, "No."
That's one of my neighbors. I know him. He lives close. I see him once in a while. I say hi, but I don't really talk to him much anymore. He was a friend of my ex's, and that's how I knew him. He sent me a DM like last weekend. He was just like, "Hey man, I hope everything's good. I know we haven't talked in a while and stuff. I was wondering if you could do me a favor." I'm like, I just ignored it. Like, I'm not, no. Dude, we don't know each other like that. Like, that's so weird. Like, why are you reaching out to me? And it's weird that some people will reach out to someone that they haven't talked to in like a decade or more and say like, "Hey, can you do me a favor?" I'm like, "Hey, no." Like, fucking.
If you
wrong
try
with
to
you?
think about it, if you're at the point to where you're like, I have no other options, they're probably like, fuck it, what's the worst they're gonna say?
In my case, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's probably I don't think I've ever really thought about it until like right now. Like that's probably what they're thinking is they're like, fuck it, I'm shooting my shot and see, I ain't got nothing else to lose at this point.
This is very interesting, and I've always said this. I've said this to my leadership because I thought it was always bullshit. You take an oath to support and defend the Constitution, and subsequently, after the Constitution doesn't even apply to you.
Mm-hmm.
Sort
of, but for the most part, yes.
It's mostly the freedom of speech thing.
Yeah, essentially that. I'm like, what about the First Amendment? They're like, the Constitution doesn't apply to you while you're in. I'm like, so why the fuck did I swear an oath to defend it if it doesn't even apply to me? If I'm not even allowed to exercise that, why am I defending it? I
always loved the idea of you get hurt and you can get charged with damage of government property.
That too.
I don't think that's true.
It is to a point. If you intentionally harm yourself, then you can. If you get hurt, no. If you do something to hurt yourself, I have a cousin who years and years ago, back in like the 80s and 90s, was in the Air Force. He punched a wall out of anger, broke his hand, got charged with destruction of government property for it.
Well, the wall is also government property.
It wasn't. It was at his personal home. It wasn't out on base.
That actually reminds me. I kind of wanted to see that gunny that broke our door. Me and my roommate talked about like trying to like file up the chain and try to get him charged with destruction of government property since it was a barracks door.
We all know how that would go.
Come to find out, like he talked to some of our leadership like casually about it. He was like, "Hey, this is kind of what happened. Like, what's up?" And they were like, "We'll handle it." And come to find out, the weapons like first sergeant absolutely fucking reamed this guy. Like, fucking
Oh yeah, because he destroyed.
And I was like, "Oh, that's good enough for me."
He broke a barracks door, and we all know how the fucking housing department deals with maintenance, which is they don't fucking do anything. And he broke it, and now they have to figure out how to fix it. So yeah, good. He deserved that.
What is it about seeing higher ups getting chewed out by someone higher than them? It's like seeing a unicorn, and you just can't look away.
Did I ever tell you about how my battalion commander smoked all the officers in our battalion?
That's fucking beautiful.
And it was, I will say this, the reason was stupid. It was because the connexes were in disarray still. We had a layout for all our connexes, and they weren't put back the way that the commander wanted it. So he punished all the fucking officers instead. So he had everyone from Butter Bar, and anywhere between Butter Bar and fucking Major. Everybody was like in the fucking motor pool with ACHs, which is our Kevlars, doing low crawls and shit. And it was
glorious.
It was the wildest thing I'd ever seen in my life. I was like, I'm like, who the fuck is the commander smoking? And then they were like, all the officers. I'm like, there is no fucking way. And like, have you seen your platoon leader lately? And I'm like, no, actually. Holy fuck. So all the PLs, the XOs, the company commanders, they were all getting their balls smoked off by the battalion commander. It was wild to see.
It's a beautiful sight right there.
Well, it wasn't because a lot of those guys were set up for failure by the BC.
Shocking.
So he set them up for failure and then punished them when they didn't meet his expectations. So and a lot of those guys were good dudes that had done multiple deployments with that unit. and had been in that unit for years, had just got back from Afghanistan, had like the unit cohesion was tight over at the 173rd, and then the new guys come and they have all these weird fucking garrison expectations, and then they absolutely punish everybody and that was in a leadership position for not being able to meet us. It was wild because of that, but it was also wild because these guys were set up to fail, and he was smoking them because of some weird standard he made for himself. So anyway,
consistency.
You gotta love the consistency. So there's stupid and there's army stupid. And that can apply to the Marine
itself.
It definitely does. And I've said this. I've even said there's logic and then there's army logic.
Mm-hmm.
Number 57, because only during magic shows and military working hours are the rules of logic suspended on such a consistent and relentless basis.
Yeah. If there's common sense or logic, it has no place here. I always tell people, I'm like, if things are going smoothly, I'm terrified. Think something's wrong. I don't trust this. If I'm questioning, why the fuck are we doing this? Going exactly as planned.
And it surprises you when someone in leadership actually has has a plan in place that completely makes sense.
Like makes sense. Like you're suspicious. You're like, what?
No.
The catch?
Here's what usually happens. It makes sense, and then some fuckknuckle comes out of nowhere and changes it to a way it doesn't make sense. I've had that happen.
Suspicious.
I've seen that part a lot, where like you'll have a good leader that has a good plan in place where everything is explained and everything makes sense. And then some officer comes in, and it's always a fucking officer. We got to get mandatory fun day in here to roast him for being an officer. And it's always an officer that comes in and thinks that he can do it better and makes it less logical and more stupid. It always happens.
I got lucky with my last company command before I got out, and they were pretty good at anytime the battalion wasn't around, and it was like, hey, we're doing it this way. Battalion would like fuck off, and then we'd be go doing our company shit for however long, and they'd come up to the company and be like, okay, so this is commander's intent, right? This is what he wants done. I know he said we're going to do it this way. Quite frankly, it's fucking stupid. We're going to not talk about it on comms. We're going to say we're doing it that way. We're doing it this way.
My chief does that,
dumb.
actually.
A lot of
thank God.
All the like good NCOs do that exact same thing. All of them across every branch.
My chief does that. He's like, all right, now that the officers are gone, this is what we're doing.
Well, it was the funny part is it was our captain that would do that. He would be like, sorry guys, BC had a little dumb moment here. We're gonna do it this way. And our first sergeant would be like, I love you, sir.
That's what our company commander would do too. He would pull us up. He's like, so the BC said we'll do it like that, and we are absolutely not going to do it like that. It was just like, what the fuck?
58.
So 58. Why did our parents even bother giving us first names? And it's true because
I haven't heard my first name in so long.
And it's weird when people do say your first name after a while, because then you're just what the fuck? Like
Me and my buddies got to a point we intentionally would not use each other's last names. We were like, we're going to use our given fucking names because, damn it, we need some separation from this bullshit mentally.
And
I know a lot of
see
people
each
that
other
do that.
just use first name.
Especially outside of duty hours when like you're off the bar or something. I would have my squadlers and platoon sergeants always say like, hey, do not call me Sergeant so-and-so. Call me Tom.
Oh, if they call you by rank, that's just fucking
not even. He's like, don't call me Sergeant. Don't even call me by my last name. My name is Thomas. I'm like, okay. Fuck. Like those things do not apply when we're not in uniform. Let's see. Number 59. In what other job can you do things not the right way, but the Army way?
Oh, dude.
Or the Marine Corps way. There's the right way, and then there's the Marine Corps way.
That goes in with the logic thing too.
Here's another big reason why to get out. Your job sucks, quit and find a new one.
Oh, fucking only.
Yeah. And in the military, if your job sucks, you got to wait. You got to wait till that's done.
I saw a few people take that and be like, try me, bitch. And it was always new guys that, they'd never fucking dealt with any kind of stress ever in their life. And they would just be like, you know what? I'm done. And we're like, no, you're not. You're doing this. You signed a contract. They're no, I guarantee you, I'm done. And then within a couple months, I got kicked out.
You will have
That's usually
those,
what they want, though.
you have those outliers that
stupid.
stick to their guns about wanting to fucking leave. And
Oh yeah.
the paperwork obviously goes at the pace of a turtle fart, but it's still, they stick with it that whole way. They're determined to get the fuck out, and they will do they'll do anything to get out. Anything.
But it's always the people. They've been there. They just got through training. They just hit their first unit, and they're like, I'm done. And it's like, dog, I promise you, like, things are stupid, but fuck, it does get better.
You
just started.
Hang
What are
out
you
for a
talking
minute.
about?
Shit, you just got here.
You've been here for 15 minutes. What do you mean you're done? Like it's just begun. Like some of the fuckery will stick around, but it's gonna get easier.
The suck hasn't even gotten here for you to embrace yet. What the fuck?
That too. It's just like
And it's like sometimes when it's shitty, it's really fun because everybody's just like, yeah, this is stupid.
It's called
Fuck
trauma
it.
bonding.
it really is trauma bonding. Like we just bond over all the bullshit, and like I almost wonder if it doesn't get easier if it's just we just deal with it better.
That's 100%
I
what
think
it
you
is.
just
It doesn't
deal
get
with it
any
better.
better. It sucks, but the people you're around. That's why when the people you're around are shitty, it makes that situation so much worse. Because you're like, this fucking sucks, but I hate this motherfucker, and this makes it so much worse. When you're with good people, you're like, this fucking sucks, man. At least you're here, though.
I know. I had that a lot when I was getting out of the guard. And even in like active duty, they were just like saying, I wish you'd stay because going to the field and going on deployments with you is fun. I'm like, yeah, it is fun. I'm going to miss those times, but I'm not going to miss the bullshit with it. Let's see. What's this? This is going to be our last one for this. Nope. Sitting around twiddling thumbs all day long until about 17:30, even though any relevant work was finished by 10 o'clock, but you're unable to leave.
That's the biggest one. That was the biggest one for me when it came time to get out.
And you get in trouble for not doing shit. Like, you go figure something out. Like, what the fuck do you want me to do?
We did everything on the task. Like, and that was even, we even talked about this, how there was a sergeant major that was talking about how he thinks cell phones are the worst thing to happen in the military because it leaves so much room for poor planning, like the poor prior planning. And basically it gives higher leadership a reason to add more shit and not plan the day and just send dudes home at a reasonable time because they didn't plan ahead to have certain tasks done throughout the day, to the point
where you get the last minute task at like 4 o'clock and they're like, we got to have it done before we leave. Like, why didn't you tell me that 4 hours ago when we were doing nothing?
And even then,
why didn't you tell me this at morning formation? What the fuck? We could have this done by noon.
or even worse, you are done by noon and you can't leave because the time hasn't come to leave yet. Nothing's come down, and then like an hour before you're supposed to leave, they throw something out there. It's like, we have been sitting here for 5 hours, 6 hours. We could have had this done. Why are you just now telling us?
On a bit of fairness, though, this is a major problem within the civilian world too, because mostly in hourly wage jobs, where like if your work is done, they're like, yeah, that's great, but then you're not doing anything. So it's either the business feels like they're getting screwed because they're paying you and they're like, what the fuck are we paying you for? But you've already done the work that was supposed to be done in that time. So it either makes it to where the business is like, all right, well, we're going to give you more work. Or it makes it to where that person's like, all right, I'm just going to fucking spread out my work throughout this whole time. So like, I'm barely doing shit.
And then they bitch at you for not getting it done.
I'm filling my day.
I had that at my first pipe fitting job, where all the things that needed to be done for that day were done. And I was like, what do you need me to do? Like, is there anybody that needs help with anything? Do you need me to weld something? Like, who needs help? And they're like, just go clean up trash, go sweep the floor, go do something. I'm like, that's not even my fucking job. And they do that shit in the civilian world too.
I'm actually grateful of my unit, at least right now, to where, at least since I've been there, if I don't have work to do, even when I'm in clinic, if I don't have patients to see, like, they don't task me with stupid shit.
See,
all the stuff that I do is pertinent.
In the Army, it's kind of easy.
Rare.
It's easy when everything's done. And like, you can just be like, hey, I'm going to go take care of some things. If something changes, text me. Because you know it's going to. You just go and you go fucking take a nap, play video games, eat, whatever. Something stupid. And if you have a cool NCO, which majority of the time I did, they were like, I'll just let you know when something comes up. Just fuck off.
Especially if you live in the barracks, like you just go chill.
And the barracks were right where formation was. So it's like, because we had a basketball court and our barracks were like in a square, and in the middle was the quad where the basketball court was. And that's where the formation was. So if anything came down the pipe, our CP is right there. We just go in to the office, which was stone's throw away. And like, but you'd fuck off most of the day and just wait for something like, what needs to be done today? All right, these need to be done. All these tasks are done today. And it's funny because I think back to it now of like, what did my duty day really consist of? And I can't even remember because it was mostly not like the things I do remember. It's like, those were very little bits of the day. What was the rest of the day? What did we do? I don't know. What
people ask me what it's like in the military. I'm like, it's usually a lot of boring, like honestly, a lot of downtime that you would much have in the civilian world. You just kind of spread that work out, so you're continuing to get fucking paid. But like in the military, the only thing is, even if you do your job, it doesn't matter. You're still not fucking leaving. Usually, they're just gonna keep you there. So it's a lot of boring downtime and like nothing's really happening with like brief moments of either scary or exciting, etc., and then more boring downtime.
Yeah, whenever someone thanks me for my service, I'm like, you're welcome. All I did was jerk off and play video games. Like, the fuck you want from me? I didn't do much.
Jerked off in so many different countries.
Oh, I definitely did that.
When we got back from Oki, and it was like last couple months I was in, you know how usually get back and like a bunch of leadership changes and shit like that. We were getting a new staff sergeant for our platoon, and me and my buddy, we were in the middle of like checking out. We were doing all that stuff. We would get like one or two things every day, one or two things done every day for the checkout process. And we were sitting in our room playing some video games, and we get a knock on the door, and I go answer, and I'm like, oh, it's our staff sergeant, our new staff sergeant. And I'm like, how's it going, gentlemen? Walks in, and our old staff sergeant's like, what are you doing? And we're like, oh, we're just playing Call of Duty. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? He's like, what are you doing? You're not out there training? You're not out there getting after it? And our new staff sergeant looked at him. He goes, oh, come on, staff sergeant. They are training. Look at them. And he reaches out and he grabs the controller from us. And he plays a fucking round of Warzone real quick. And he gives the controller back. He's like, all right, you guys are getting out, right? And we're like, yeah. He goes, focus on that. Don't get me in fucking trouble. I don't fucking care. Goodbye. We're like, okay.
I had my old squad leader got kicked out because he was doing cocaine. He even did a line in my fucking barracks room, and I'm like, hey, man, you cannot, please get the fuck out of here with that. What the fuck's wrong with you?
I saw nothing but get the fuck out.
I even told him, I was like, bro, come on. Like, in here, like, the one person that's definitely going to get this shit for this is me. It's not even mine. What the fuck you doing? The fuck, man?
Stop.
Stop doing that. Don't do that.
Not Kitty, that's my papa.
That's my papa. So what are your guys' plans for the week?
Fucking work.
Yeah,
make videos, stream.
I know Blake's got homework to do, man.
Yeah.
True.
I've got homework.
Is it due by midnight tonight?
Yeah.
Aren't you gonna stream after this?
Probably not.
I
want to, but probably won't be able to.
What was your major again?
Communications and media.
So my teachers, because I'm doing IT shit, all my teachers are most of my teachers are all nerds and gamers. And like, one of my teachers plays Diablo, WoW, and all that stuff. So I've noticed that none of my homework has been graded all semester.
And doesn't matter.
He's just sitting there playing video games.
You can do all that shit whatever the fuck he wants.
In my mind,
he's done the work.
I know and he's a great teacher. He's very knowledgeable. He's very good at teaching you how to do the thing and explaining everything. And normally he's on top of the grading. And I know Diablo 4 came out in June, and season 1 just started Thursday, and none of my homework this summer has been fucking graded. And I'm like, huh. Not even my midterm was graded.
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
I mean, it's all there. It's all on time, so it's time stamped. So he knows that it wasn't late. I've been submitting it, and I'm just like, I know what you're doing. I know why it's not graded.
It's good to know though, because he's gonna go through and grade it, and he's gonna be like, yep, cool.
Pretty much.
100s, there you
He
go.
just
Have a good day.
he's more concerned. Like in this, he even said this in the first semester that I had. He because I had him then. He said that like he'll obviously like look at what was wrong and then explain to you what was wrong, but he mostly is just looking to see that you're doing it,
That's
and at least
most of
making an
college.
effort. One of my teachers, my JavaScript teacher, he fucking does dock points off if I got shit wrong, like on my coding. Like I will get points taken off for it. Like no matter if I did it on time and if I did it to the best of my ability, I'm still not gonna get all the points because I did get something wrong. He doesn't take much off.
Do you use ChatGPT for your coding?
Sometimes. This semester I haven't because it doesn't really apply to what I'm doing. Most of the exercises that I do are the code is given to you. And you're just, it's like on you to kind of learn of why it works and how it works. And then like the only time it doesn't get given to you is like your projects. So like my web projects and stuff, I'm going to have to like actually like build that on my own.
Interesting.
So I got to actually talk to my teachers tomorrow because I'm running into issues where even the code used in the book and what he's explained and following along in their instructional videos, it's still not working right. And I don't know why. So
Have you put it in the ChatGPT to see if it works?
some of this I can't put into ChatGPT. And the only reason why I can't is because there are multiple different files of code that are working together. And getting ChatGPT to really understand that these are all connected pieces of code on different forms, I need them to work together. Why is it not? It's harder.
You can put that in there as a prompt and tell it.
Yeah, but that's also a lot of code that I have to show it. And I've tried this before. It gets pretty dicey, and often the wrong result is given to you because, it's still not perfect. But because to its logic, it thinks it should do this, but it's also making a lot of assumptions based on the code that you give it. So I can give it a lot of code. I couldn't give it all the code, but it's still going to make assumptions. Even though I explain what I want it to do, what I'm trying to get it to do, here's all the code that I have, and it changes things to the point where the code has to be completely replaced in ways. So it's just not efficient in certain aspects. Some it is. Like very simple stuff, it's very efficient, but more complex programs that I'm doing, it won't do it.
This reminds me that our conversation with Nico is going to be more outdated with the news than this episode.
Oh, I know. We had to actually stop in that episode because it was getting really late. So we were going to do a two-parter, but I decided to go ahead and just record the rest because it's only going to take like 30 minutes. So.
Oh, so you just finished it?
Yeah. No, we didn't finish it. We're going to finish it another time. So.
Well, it's still got to be a two-parter, though.
Well, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to work that in.
Because it's going to end up being like a 4-hour episode.
I said I'll figure it out. But anyway.
Appreciate you for coming back on.
Yeah, Blake. Thanks for hanging out with us again.
You're the first two-time guest.
I was the first guest, and now I'm the first two-time guest. Can I be the first three-time guest?
If you fucking
Let's
want.
not push it. Okay.
If you can get,
Let's not push it. Listen, we kind of fucking hate you here. Fair.
If you can, if you can get mandatory fun day and all four of us be on here.
Yes,
and we all just
that's your goal. And for you to be on again, you have to get mandatory
and we
fun day
just
with us.
and we just rip all of us into him for being an officer.
I'll text him right fucking now.
You tell him your stipulation. He's like, hey, I have to get you on the podcast with us, and that's how I'm allowed back on.
You are not welcome back.
Let me back on.
You are not welcome back unless you bring a friend.
Listen, bro, I'm being barred from doing this. If you don't go on. What's that dude that's been going around his skits and shit on TikTok? Fucking the man, I really want to make money on this.
Oh,
God,
yeah.
I really want to.
He's like, how can I make money on this? I really want to. He's from I think the first show was called I Think You Should Leave.
Mm-hmm.
And he
I don't
does.
think I've seen this.
It's pretty funny. He's like over the top ridiculous with the skits, but they are pretty funny. But yeah, I know who you're talking about. I'm also surprised to see like the Mill Talk, like who all's on Mill Talk, like who was that one guy? He's like, listen, I can't remember his name, but you know who I'm talking about, right?
I know exactly what
And
you're talking about.
and it comes in like he just now revealed that he's fucking Air Force.
He's been in for 18 years.
Yeah, he's still in, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
I might know who you're talking about.
You know, if
You
you
know, I don't want to be that guy, but watching his videos when I first watched him, I was like, I could see this guy being a vet. Like,
I
this guy
thought
was
the
definitely
same
like he was
thing.
Leo, he was fucking EMT vet, something.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, this guy is definitely like one of us in some way or shape or form. And then he showed that he was in the Air Force, and everyone, it kind of threw all of us off. Like we were like, wow, like we had a feeling, but you know, it was just like maybe he's just like-minded, if anything, at the minimum. But we didn't know that he was actually in the Air Force. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys heard the new military theme song?
No.
The Dixon Dallas song.
Oh yeah, yeah,
What,
yeah.
the dick down in
He's
Dallas.
bouncing
Like,
off
he's
my
bouncing
booty.
on
cheek.
my booty.
He's bouncing
Oh,
off my
yeah.
booty cheeks. I love the way he rides. It's funny because I saw that in a Dallas Cowboys promo. Somebody dubbed that song over it, and my mother-in-law is a Dallas Cowboys fan, and I sent it to my wife, and I was like, "Should we send this to your mom?" And her mom is like a really like religious person. And she's like, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm like, but it would be so funny.
But think of the funnies. Think of the laughs.
Think of the laughs that I would get. And like it would just like her mom would be like,
Worth it.
oh, and I'd be like, like got this psychotic son-in-law. But
I feel like her dad would probably
That's
find it
beautiful.
funny
her
too.
dad
maybe
her dad definitely would find that shit funny. Her dad,
because he was Air Force, right?
he's retired Air Force. Yeah, he's got the same sense of humor. It's just very toned down.
Well, because I mean, yeah.
Unless he's drinking, then it's back up.
That's interesting.
He's toned down normal, but when he's drinking, like his sense of humor is it
Well,
gets
it's probably
up there.
because it's suppressed. It's like when vets aren't around vets for very, very often, they're like condensed into this little box. That's where that's why the IW hikes are so crazy, because like people get to come out of their box and they're like, holy shit, I can be myself again, and then they go back into the little box.
Speaking of which, I missed the Chicago hike. Nelson was really
What?
I forgot. I forgot it was already.
Wow.
I gotta remember to sign up for the Milwaukee one because that's coming up in what, 2 weeks?
I'm not sure.
It's the 13th.
I heard that Chicago hike was good. It was Jessica's last one
Was it?
because I think she's getting out or PCSing, one of the two.
Yeah.
There's another person that's taken over.
That was
It's
Nelson.
another
That was
active.
Nelson's last hike too. Blake, when's the last one you went to? It was recently, wasn't it?
I went to the one in Utah.
Utah. What the fuck?
Wait, where do you live?
Florida.
You went to Utah?
Mhm.
Damn.
What
Okay.
the fuck was this?
This was like
I don't remember
last month.
It was in like May.
Was it? I don't remember this.
Yeah.
Were you were still on Twitch then, right?
I think so.
This was like
I don't remember.
This was like 2 months ago. What do you mean he was still on
Is
Twitch?
this- He was still. He's on Kick now.
Oh yeah, that's right. Before you moved.
Yeah.
Damn, why Utah?
So I just knew some people out there. I figured it'd be a good excuse to go meet up with some people I've met over the years.
Shit, I don't even like traveling past Chicago. I don't even like going to Chicago.
Because you were recognized at that one, weren't you?
I've been recognized as just about every single one.
Oh, look at you.
You should come to the Milwaukee one then.
Very well. When's that?
I mean, Virginia Beach.
It's the 13th of August.
Maybe next year.
I was gonna say it's 2 weeks from now. It's like 2 or 3
Virginia
weeks away.
Beach is a lot closer, and you can stay in my guest room.
Very well. When's that one?
September something.
September.
I think
something?
like the
That might be
13th,
doable.
some shit.
That might be doable, especially if I got a place to stay.
It's
I actually got
It's
a buddy out
September
there I haven't
something.
seen since I got out that might be willing to go to that one. He just had a kid.
yeah. You told me that that's why your possibility of this one is because
Yeah.
he lives out in this
So I
area.
forgot about that. I'll hit him up and see if I can plan it, see how much a plane ticket is and all that stuff. You got an airport near you?
Yeah, Norfolk International
Okay.
Airport,
Oh,
because that's the one
Let me see
where
how
like
much
all the new boots fly into.
Hell
I can see
yeah!
how much ticket is. If it's like $100,
Look at this,
round
guys.
trip, I'd be
Regiment
looking
bringing
September
people
16th.
together. Regiment bringing
September
vets
16th.
together.
I mean, I wear my jersey at every hike, so
Yeah, I know. I did the flag thing in the last one I did. But But anyway, let's wrap this up, gentlemen. So
Just
Blake,
don't leave the call when we're done.
Yeah, just don't leave the call when we're done. It was good having you on, Blake. Thanks again. I know it's been a few weeks since we recorded, but life has been happening. So a lot of changes coming down the pipe once we get them fucking rolling out. So
Just remember, you're not allowed back on unless mandatory funding comes.
yeah,
I literally just texted him.
you are not allowed back until you bring a friend.
These are our terms and conditions.
Very well.
All right, guys. Have a good one, y'all. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Bye.